freaking cheesehead.
In this part of the world, there is nothing bigger, nothing nastier, nothing more intense than the Packers and the Vikings. This rivalry feeds off of some of the game's most dangerous and brilliant stars. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. It's great to have you with us. The Vikings' Mike Tice called this championship week because if they win tonight, they'll have a 4-game lead in the division, and no team in the history of the NFL has ever blown a divisional championship with that big a lead. And remember, they are 6-1 without their star running back, Michael Bennett, and he comes back tonight. The Packers could have called this desperation week. They are 3-4 and playing in the Metrodome, which has been a house of horrors for Brett Favre and his teammates over the years. Their biggest problem has been on defense. Joe, especially the lack of a pass rush. And if they don't get pressure on Daunte Culpepper tonight, this night could last forever.
Oh, Mike, you're talking about the #1 rated quarterback in the National Football League. Now, Daunte Culpepper didn't accomplish that by having physical skills and go out and getting it done that way. No, what he did is he learned to manage a football game. He learned to throw incomplete passes. They're okay. He learned to throw a ball away. He tucks it under and runs. As a matter of fact, he found out the punt is not a bad thing. As far as Brett Favre goes, he doesn't like it here at the Metrodome. He's 2-9. The record speaks for itself. But it's not the venue tonight that's a problem. It's his thumb. The first joint of his thumb on his right hand has been broken. It's wrapped up with a splint and some tape. Now, Brett Favre is going to have to throw the football. Brett Favre is nicked up. But, Mike, he's played nicked up. And a nicked-up Brett Favre is as good as most guys in the National Football League.
Absolutely, Joe. Thank you. And Favre is one of those guys that we love to watch play every play because he gives you everything he's got every single down. And, Paul, another one for the Vikings is Chris Hovan.
Well, when Chris Hovan came into our meeting last Friday, he has 3 smashed fingers, a smashed toe, and he's full of frustration. What he's frustrated about is the fact he doesn't think he's making plays. He's not their leading tackler, and he also only has 1/2 of a sack. When I asked Favre about him, he said, Hovan is the kind of guy you love to have on your football team, but you hate to play against. The reason is because he's so disruptive, and he's got a motor that just won't quit. So I asked Hovan, tell me about Favre. What about him? What are you going to do to him? He said, I'm going to get into his head and make him claustrophobic. You figure that out.
All right, thank you, Paul. We'll go inside the game with Chris Hovan because he's wired for Sunday night.
What's up, Mike? What's up, Paul? What's up, Joe? Lock and load. Let's get ready to go. Wire for sound and wire for the game. Ready to go. Let's go! Ah!
Welcome back to the Metrodome for a showdown in the black and blue division, the Packers and the Vikings. Visa presents ESPN Skycam, innovative technology on ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Skycam provides some of the most unique and memorable images ever seen from angles no other single camera in the world can achieve. We're excited to bring it to you every Sunday night. And you can bet that Skycam will be focused on 6-year veteran Randy Moss. Susie Colbert, is it possible this guy is still getting better?
Well, Mike, even on Halloween weekend, it's a scary thought to think that, but it's true. And while Moss won't admit that it's because he's more mature, he will say that he is more determined. But either way, it's amazing what he can accomplish when you mix that natural ability with that new and improved work ethic. Second in the NFL in receiving yards, already putting up 4 100-yard games, second in the NFL in touchdown receptions, and perhaps most impressive, in his 6th season, he's getting joy out of making everyone better.
Now, I'm sort of like the teacher now. So, opposed a couple years ago, I was really like the student, you know, trying to learn the game. And my approach to the game was just going out there and having fun and really not paying attention to what's going on, just do what the offense tells me to do. But now it's, you know, going out there reading coverages and reading the injury report, you know, just little things like that, just to try to teach to the younger guys.
And then there's the issue of how he has torched the Packers. He says his success since day one motivates him to keep going. That and number 4 on the other sideline. Moss is a big fan of Brett Favre. He knows Brett's coming to play and he's Green Bay's man. Well, he says, I'm Minnesota's man.
Susie, the man indeed, and he has put up his biggest numbers against the Packers in this bitter rivalry.
like oil and water.
Moss.
Fire. Purple versus green.
Bragging rights.
It's like the Hatfields and McCoys. Fighting for years.
Packer Vikings, there's nothing like it.
Nice wig, Heidi.
You friggin' cheesehead.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Welcome back to the Metrodome in Minneapolis. They are speculating this will be the largest crowd ever to see a Minnesota Vikings football game at home. Chris Hovan can't wait. The Vikings will kick off. Aaron Elling to do the honors, and Antonio Chapman, the former Arena League star, is deep to receive. He's averaging 22.7 a return. Chapman from the 7. Across the 30 and brought down there. Up front for the Pack, a tough group of run blockers, and tough defines Marco Rivera. He's torn MCLs 3 times in 2 years and just keeps playing. Donald Driver missed a game and a half with a neck injury. He's their best receiver, though his numbers are down from last year's Pro Bowl season. And Amon Green is on his way to his 4th straight 1,000-yard season, but his fumble problems have cost him dearly. Brett Favre starting his 181st consecutive game, and Amon Green, first play out of the box to the 48-yard line.
This is one of the things we knew that they were going to try to do. With Amon Green, he's a great runner between the tackles, Joe, but against this defense, because they don't have speed at linebackers, they want to get him to the outside.
And again, Paul, take a look at the job William Henderson does, number 33. When you run 2 backs and you've got a hammer like Henderson, you know you're going to get some yards out of that halfback.
Amon Green with that run already over 750 yards in this, his 8th game of the season. Favre loves to roll out, dumps it to Henderson, who has become a primary pass receiver. That was his 15th catch of the year. Chris Hovan is the emotional leader of the Vikings defense. His presence frees up his teammates to make plays. Chris Claiborne was their big free agent prize. He leads the team in tackles and has 3 sacks. And the move to safety gave Corey Chavis a chance to shine. In spite of a knee injury, he's tied for the league lead with 6 interceptions. Now the Packers go with 3 tight ends, and Green off the right side. Cuts it back and close to a first down at the 41.
Everybody wonders why there haven't been big plays down the field for the Green Bay Packers. Part of it is that Bubba Franks, 1 tight end, Wesley Walls, and David Martin, all 3 tight ends are very good at not only blocking but catching. And so what Tom Rossley, the offensive coordinator, has done is he's decided to incorporate this for about 15 plays a game. So you're not going to get necessarily 1 or 2 big shots from a tight end down the field. That's why the receiving numbers are down for the wideouts.
And tonight with Favre's thumb, we may see it even more. Out of the eye this time, first down, Green Bay. Fake to reverse. Green. Nice cutback, Amon Green. To the 14-yard line, Corey Chavis finally brought him down, a gain of 27.
He only had 1 receiver in the game, and that was number 83, Chapman. And watch what Green does here. Look at this. Amon Green, he waits, and then he sees his block to the inside, and he takes off down the field. This was set up by Amon Green.
Yeah, but Brian Russell, number 27, is sitting right in the hole. But because of the turf, Amon Green has such sure footing, he's able to cut back almost at full speed and make the play.
Najee Davenport checks in as the new running back, but Favre wants to throw. Out in the flat, he's got his tight end knocked out of bounds at the 1, David Martin. The 3rd-year player from Tennessee's got tremendous speed.
I want you to focus on the hand that Brett Favre uses to fake. Now, the thumb that's wrapped is his right thumb. You see the left hand? That's what he's doing for ball faking. Both hands on the ball. He told me in warm-ups that he had to protect it more. He couldn't just hang it out. He was afraid he might drop it. Nice job of holding on, pump downfield, knows where everybody is. There isn't a quarterback in football that knows their offense as well as Brett Favre does. Maybe Rich Gannon out in Oakland would be the only other one I would say knows it that well.
Packers have to use a timeout. When they come back, they'll have 1st and goal at the Viking 2. It's 0-0, but the Packers are driving.
Right there is where the thumb is broken. Now what he's doing is he is blowing on just some glue where he has the splint adhered to the top of his finger.
This is the big backfield, and Favre wants to throw off of it. Intended for Walls, but overthrown at the end line. Good coverage by Brian Williams.
Take a look at the way he has to grip the ball. He's faking with his left hand. Normally he's a right-hand faker. Now he sets it on the ball. And, you know, unless you've thrown a football, you cannot appreciate how difficult it is to grip anything with a broken first knuckle on your thumb. And it's just amazing to me that he can throw the ball as well as he has so far with the tape and the splint on.
The Packers offense is the best in the league in the red zone. Ahman Green hit in the backfield. He'll lose a couple. Kenny Mixon was the first man through, and then Nick Rogers made sure.
But Kenny Mixon, number 79, watch this. He just goes right by the blocker. They never blocked at the line of scrimmage. David Martin is a tight end that should have been blocking. He runs right by Kenny Mixon, and he makes the play.
3rd and goal just inside the 4. The crowd on its feet at the Metrodome.
You've got to move Brett Favre. Don't let him drop back. You've got to move him.
Favre, guns incomplete, intended for Walker. And Corey Chavis was there to break it up.
I just think asking Brett Favre to drop back in the middle doesn't put enough pressure on the defense. He gets the window, he gets a nice lane to throw the ball. You'll see it. Corey Chavis is just breaking on the throw. Now, would that ball have been there quicker if Brett Favre didn't have a broken thumb?
No.
Okay, no.
Heck of a play by Chavis.
Yes, a little voice told me no.
And now Ryan Longwell, who hasn't missed in 8 tries this year, makes it 9 straight and puts the Packers on the board first. This high-powered offense has to settle for a field goal and leads 3-0.
ESPN Sunday Night Football, brought to you by the new Microsoft Office system. It's time for great moments at work. Finding Nemo, own it on DVD and video Tuesday, November 4th. And Mazda, there's a soul of a sports car in everything we make.
Back in the beautiful Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the Packers went 66 yards after taking the opening kickoff, moved almost at will against the Vikings defense until they got inside the 5-yard line, and then had to settle for the field goal.
I was impressed with the fact, and the Packers were really lucky they had the bye in 2 weeks, or else I don't believe Brett Favre could have played last week. They get the 2 weeks. Doesn't look like that thumb's bothering him a whole lot. Now it's Dante's turn to answer.
Ontario Smith is back with Keenan Howery. And Smith from the 7. A lot of speed. And takes it to the 29-yard line. For the Vikings offense, a huge line anchored by Matt Burke, a center who explodes off the ball and is one of the game's best. Randy Moss is the most dangerous receiver in the NFL. He leads the league in receiving yards, averaging more than 110 a game. And Pro Bowler Michael Bennett is in the lineup tonight for the first time this season after a broken foot. And he has game-breaking speed.
Yes, he does.
A year ago, rushed for 1,296 yards, the second best rushing mark in Vikings history. And they'll whistle this one dead.
This is going to be movement on the end of the line by the Vikings.
Play, false start, 40 offense. That's a 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Jim Kleinsaucer.
Michael Bennett has done an outstanding job to get himself ready. He has a screw in his foot. They've screwed it, they've glued it, they've done everything to get him back so that he can get comfortable. The one thing that this offense has missed, they had a home run hitter in Randy Moss. Now with Michael Bennett back, they've got one on the ground as well. This offense should be even more explosive.
He was a 4-time track champion at Wisconsin. Culpepper short set out in the flat, completes his first pass. Burleson The rookie out of Nevada, Reno, finally brought down by Hannibal Navies, and Culpepper is having a career season.
Well, Dante Culpepper has really settled down. This is an altogether different football player than you've known in the past, folks. This young man has all the confidence in the world in what he's doing. He's taking his time. He now, Joe, knows that he's allowed to throw the ball away.
Yeah, he's got a bigger offensive line, got a defense playing well. You're right, Paul. Has a chance to do something besides try and win all the time.
He's not turning the ball over. He had 23 interceptions a year ago, 23 fumbles. Not doing any of that this year. And now Culpepper is going to have to use a timeout. 10:20 to go first quarter. Green Bay on top of Minnesota by a field goal. The series history couldn't be any closer. 42-41-1. The Vikings by one single game. They won the opener under Mike Tice as they rededicated Lambeau Field. Not what the Packers were hoping for on opening day. Culpepper quickly to Moss. Flanker screen. Got a block outside from Burleson. And McKenzie took him out of bounds. The Packers defense has been disappointing. Kabir Gbaja-Biamila, a dominant pass rusher the last 2 years, has only 3 sacks. Rookie middle linebacker Nick Barnett has lived up to his billing as Green Bay's #1 draft choice. He leads the team in tackles. And Darren Sharper is one of the league's most talented safeties. In the last 3.5 years, he has 23 interceptions, #1 in the NFL over that span. Now Mo Williams is in at a tailback spot on first down for the Vikings. Culpepper all day. Now the protection breaks down. And the 260-pound quarterback picks up a couple.
Boy, I'll tell you what. This offensive line, they just stopped the Green Bay Packers defensive line right at the line of scrimmage. There was no movement. And Culpepper was just standing back there. Look at this. Watch Culpepper and look at who's close to him. See if you see a white shirt. Look at, they're all at the line of scrimmage. Then finally, it breaks down.
Now here's what Randy Moss does. He's up against Al Harris. He just sort of said, he's working. Everybody says he takes a play off. I don't buy that. He's just trying to find a hole to get to. Good job by Green Bay secondary.
Michael Bennett back in on 2nd and 6. And Bennett will get his first carry. Close to a first down. Darren Sharper had to make the tackle. And the Vikings pulled center Matt Burke, who was so good at that.
They really love Michael Bennett here. I mean, this football team has missed his explosiveness in the running game. And the one thing about him, being a young back, you still saw the patience on that run where he waited to go on and pick up the yards.
And they'll come up just short. Let's check in with Susie.
Well, it's hard to put into words how big this game is for Bennett. His first game of the season comes against his hometown team. He grew up in Milwaukee, rooting for the Packers. He spent time at Lambeau because his uncle played linebacker for them, Tony Bennett. And after excelling at the University of Wisconsin, he seemed to find an extra gear against the Pack. 3 100-yard games, including 120 here last year. He told me on Friday he hasn't been able to sleep all week. A little bit nervous. Hasn't been out there in so long. A little scary to take that first hit.
And, of course, Susie, Tony then went on to a brilliant singing career after his playing days were over.
San Francisco. Made San Francisco popular.
And still doing very well.
Yeah. Yes, he is. 3rd and inches. Play fake to Williams. Culpepper wants it all. Moss. Touchdown. Nice call on 3rd and inches. They fake it into the line, and Moss ends up on Darren Sharper. There's nobody in this league that can cover him one-on-one.
Well, and I'll tell you what, look at this. He's the only guy out in the pattern, and Sharper's lost. He's already beaten.
I remember what Mike Sherman told us yesterday when he visited. He said, Darren Sharper did not play in the first game, and when you play Randy Moss, it's like playing basketball. Darren Sharper is a guy that we feel can rebound with him. I don't think so.
That was his 16th catch this year of 20 or more yards. For his career, 120, the most for any NFL player since 1998. He is a marvel to watch, and the Vikings are on top. Vikings on top 7-3. Culpepper connects with Moss, and Randy Moss on third down has torched the National Football League. He's averaging 24-1 a catch on third down. Chapman from the 6. Excellent coverage by the Packers, stopped at the 24.
Couple things worked out on this pass. First, it's excellent play action by the offensive line. There's Randy Moss lined up on the wing. Sharper's in the hole. McKenzie's on the corner. It's 2-on-1. Green Bay should feel pretty comfortable. Good play action fake by Dante inside. Now, watch what Dante does. He leads Randy to a spot where he has an opportunity to be able to make the play. See the voided field to the left of the goalpost there? That's where Dante hangs the ball up. And he knows in a jump ball, Randy's going to come down with it 9 out of 10 times.
Packers back to the ground game, and Amon Green cut down at the 25-yard line.
Randy Moss is the most explosive weapon in the National Football League, without question. There isn't anybody that is that explosive. They're a good receiver. Marvin Harrison's a great receiver, but Randy Moss can change a game in a heartbeat.
As soon as Randy Moss got even with Sharper, it was over with. Once he gets even with anybody, there's nobody, I don't know of anybody that can run with him.
Favre end around to Driver. Donald Driver got a block at the corner, got another one. Chavis, the only man back, and he saved the touchdown. 48 yards on the reverse to Donald Driver.
Couple of things. There was great blocking, but also great job by Corey Chavis. They've run this reverse before. Play action, handoff, okay, around the corner, beats Hovan. Now all of a sudden it's like a punt return. He's got Bubba Franks out front. He's got Mike Flanagan. But what a job Corey Chavis does, number 21, on Mike Flanagan to keep position.
The fans are booing because they saw the replay and Hovan got blocked in the back, or he might have made the tackle in the backfield. Favre screen, Amon Green. Chris Claiborne made the stop. Let's go to Susie. What do you have?
Well, I talked to the team doctor, Pat McKenzie, before the game regarding Favre's treatment of his thumb, and he said, I mean, the basic thing that there's nothing fancy because there isn't much you can do. The small splint, which you've seen along the top, glued to the thumbnail, and his thumb will not bend. They have a little sticky tape to anchor it there. Favre said, Joe, that he would not have played last Sunday. Some things, like a bye week, are meant to be.
Favre back to throw and throws this one behind Javon Walker. He's played through so many injuries in his 13-year career, but this one, he says, may be the most troubling.
I haven't really had an injury that has decided whether or not I play in a game for me, and this is close. And I'm not sure how effective I'll be in this game. I mean, I haven't been too effective with 2 good thumbs here. So, hell, I might as well try with 1.5.
He loves to play. They're going to have to cart him off the field. Favre rifles that one to Driver. What bad thumb?
They got a flag on the play.
Did that look to you like a guy with a bad thumb?
No. Now, let me just tell you one other thing about him now. With Favre throwing, we asked him yesterday, does it hurt? He said every single time he throws it. But you'll never see him wince once. Not this guy.
Well, I think what's going to make him wince is I believe this flag is against the Green Bay Packers. Illegal shift.
And that wipes out the touchdown. Brett also said, it's mind over matter. If I don't mind, it doesn't matter.
Now, don't you buy that. He may have a bad thumb, but he still can fire. I just haven't seen anything. You look for a wiggle in the ball or something like that. No, that spiral is as tight as can be. I'll tell you one guy that's not going to be on the field very long after that play is Denard Walker, number 26. He struggled the last 2 weeks, and Donald Driver just ate him up on that one. Look for Kenny Irvin, number 22, to get in this ball game soon for Minnesota.
Favre on a little sprint out, comes back, tosses to Tony Fisher. Brought down by Hovan.
I don't like to play. I don't like to play here. Not when you've got Favre throwing the football as well as he's throwing the ball. I just don't like to play.
Why make him throw it left-handed? He seemed to be doing all right right-handed.
It's true.
But this has been the story of the Green Bay Packers year. Just mistake after mistake after mistake stops him from the big plays.
Longwell has already hit from 21. This is from 43. And he's got it. Ryan Longwell now 10 for 10 on the season. And the way these two offenses can move the ball, we may rack up an awful lot of points tonight. We're in beautiful Minneapolis at the Metrodome, a sold-out crowd to watch one of the greatest rivalries in all of football, and the Vikings are on top 7-6. Neither team has been stopped. The Packers with a couple of field goals. The Vikings get a touchdown, Culpepper to Moss on their first possession. And each time Brett Favre goes to the sideline, I'm sure the doctors and training staff will be over there checking on that thumb. That's Ontario Smith as he waits for the kick. Smith from the 9 to the 24. Who had the best day in the NFL? Amani Toomer of the Giants, 127 yards receiving. The A-Train with the Bears. Dwight Freeney of Indianapolis, great game he had. Ray Lewis of Baltimore, or Tim Rattay of San Francisco playing for Jeff Garcia. You can vote right now by logging on to ESPN.com. We will give you the results in the fourth quarter. That should be an interesting vote.
I'm going D-line, Dwight Freeney. Thought he made the difference in the game today against Miami.
Unbelievable. Mo Williams will get the carry. And Mo Williams has done this all year long. He may be one of the most unselfish guys we have ever been around. He knew Michael Bennett was coming back. He said, that's fine. I know where I am on this team. I'll play special teams. I'll be a backup. I don't care. I just want to help the team.
We sat there talking to him on Friday, and what a refreshing human being to sit and talk to. I mean, when your guy really knows, everybody has a place on the team, Joe. Everybody has a role. His role is whatever they want him to do, and it doesn't matter.
And he's averaging 4.8 yards a carry for the season. He's not just filling in. Mo again. Near the 40.
There's 6 yards.
I mean, you look at the running backs. Mo's averaging 4.8. Ontario Smith is averaging 4.3. And Dante Culpepper's chipped in with 25 carries. He's averaging 5.3. So you almost have to count Dante as a running back.
Well, with Michael in there, what it really does is, and again, you haven't mentioned yet either Kelly Campbell coming back, number 16. But you don't look. You talk about some speed. Now they have speed and Randy.
And this team is built to go on turf.
They had been missing 2 of their receivers to injuries to go along with Bennett. He was still scoring almost 30 a game. Culpepper now being chased and throws it away.
That's the difference in Dante Culpepper from a year ago. Now what they're going to talk about is, was he in or out of the tackle box?
That was close.
Because he was being pressured, and he's saying no, incomplete. He was outside the tackle box.
Ernie.
Now you decide. There he slides left. Now he's coming right, coming right, coming right.
He's out.
Just barely.
Kabir Bajabiamila was putting on the pressure.
But that's such a difference in Dante. Last year, Dante would scramble around and wind up with a 15-yard sack.
That's right.
That's how he's grown up.
It's a nice call by Bernie Kukar, and the NFL rates officials, the good ones, the best ones, get the playoff games. He's had 11 straight playoff games. Does an excellent job. Moss on the slant. Nice coverage by Al Harris.
Boy, that was terrific coverage. wasn't it? Al Harris gets himself inside. And you talk about a quiet man, Al Harris. We talked to him yesterday. Watch this. Watch this move. Inside, he gets his arm in, and Sharper drills Randy Moss right now.
Well, they're going to bang him around. I mean, Al Harris talked about the fact that he has to be physical with Randy. He's a big guy. He's 6'1", he's 185. He's not just a little corner.
Eddie Johnson, the punt to Antonio Chapman. Had some pressure and got off a gorgeous kick. Chapman all the way back to the 9, room to run. Now he's pinned in and taken down at the 17-yard line. 10-yard return after a 61-yard punt. Monday Night Countdown, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. The best place to get ready for Monday Night Football. Then on ABC at 9, the Monday Night Game. Tom Brady and the Patriots against Clinton Portis and the Denver Broncos.
And Danny Cannell is their quarterback because Berline's gone and Plummer's gone.
You know, they may be able to find a spot for you one of these days.
I don't think so, but it's nice of you to pick him.
Ahman Green on the toss, trying to get outside. That's where the Packers want to run. And Ahman Green gets it up to the 25-yard line before Russell and Claiborne make the tackle.
There's a guy that has a little problem holding on to the football.
A little problem?
Well, yeah. You know, it's cost him a couple of games so far this year with dropping the ball in crucial situations.
He has fumbled 5 times and lost 4 this year. No one in the NFL has lost more. A year ago, fumbled 4 times and lost 3. It's the reason he's no longer in Seattle. Mike Holmgren just couldn't take it anymore. Green again, crosses the 25. Let's go to Susan.
Mike, one of the things that Ahman Green worked on during the bye week was holding on to the football. They use something called the blaster, which simulates the opponent attacking the football, forces you to hold on to it. I asked him pregame about just his confidence level. The discussion was pretty short. You don't talk to a running back about fumbling before the game. All he said was, I've been practicing a lot.
Yeah, you're right, Susie. That's bringing up jinx material. Green on 3rd and 2. Didn't make it. Nice stand by the Vikings defense. Henri Crockett got in on the tackle. It will be 4th and 1.
You will not see the Green Bay Packers try and run in the middle of this Viking defense. They feel like Greg Biekert with 11 years and 253 and Chris Claiborne at 260 cannot run sideline to sideline. That's why they're going to make him chase them on.
Keenan Howery is back to return. Howery from the 30. Nice cut. 1 step away from breaking it, got back to the 42, a 12-yard return after a punt of 43 yards. Favre and Moss, there are no 2 bigger names in the NFL. There are no 2 guys you would want to watch more than those 2.
Well, there is no better quarterback in the National Football League, and you got to believe it, than Brett Favre. Not because he's had so many games, but because of the kind of player that he is. And
we talked to him about retirement, and I don't think he's going to retire within the next 2 or 3 years. I think Brett Favre's around. And we talk about 2 big stars. Both of them have great admiration for one another, and both of them watch each other work.
Mo Williams will get the carry off the left side, submarined it to 45.
We get a chance to take a breath. You feel like you're watching a track meet here?
I think we are.
Wow.
I think the one thing about when you do Minnesota and Green Bay is that you're always on the edge because when Green Bay has the ball, you know Favre can do almost anything he wants to do with it. And then when Minnesota has it, you know that Randy Moss can score as soon as he touches the ball. And that's where the excitement is.
Four-man rush for the Packers. Culpepper wanted to set up a screen, but it's not there, and he throws it out of bounds. What a smart play. He knew he was going to lose 3 yards, so why not throw the ball away?
That was great.
You see the coverage downfield on the wide receivers. There's Harris on Moss, but this next one is Burleson. You see him try and run up, but the big thing, this is a screen play. And the interior line, the defensive line of the Packers, did an excellent job of taking away the screen from Daunte Culpepper, so he just became the screen guy.
Isn't it amazing, though, when it's a screen, you got the receiver, wide receiver, you got a tight end down the field. They're not even looking back.
They're just dancing with each other. 3rd and 6 now for the Vikings. Culpepper flushed, and down he goes. And for one of the few times this year the Packers make something happen up front, Chucky Wakori pinned Daunte Culpepper.
Well, I'll tell you, and also Larry Smith, number 96, gets in. Look at these guys. You talk about the rush. You see right there is Larry Smith, number 96. He forces Culpepper up into the inside. And when he does that, no chance.
And they've got Bryant McKinney, number 74, the left tackle, was on the field in pain. There you see, doesn't look like he can put a whole lot of pressure on that left leg.
And it took 2 guys to help him up.
And keep in mind, one of the problems for the Minnesota Vikings last year and the struggles they had was the inconsistency up front in the offensive line. Brian McKinney didn't show up until the 8th game of the season last year, didn't really play a whole lot. So they've been, but yet through this year, they've started the same 5 guys. Mike Tice checking out his big guy.
Johnson to punt to Chapman. Sky high, but very short. And out of bounds inside the 20. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, just to put Brett Favre's injury in perspective, and you know he's been injured a lot, he said if they had to play last Sunday, he would not have been able to play. But he still finds it funny that everyone thinks the streak is so important. While he admits it's about as important as any other major accomplishments in his career, it's not why he plays the game. He plays simply because he loves it, and he believes that he can help the team.
Our buddy Ron Jaworski had the previous record, 116. It is just remarkable for a quarterback. The longest current streak behind Favre is Peyton Manning with 88. Favre's at 181. Has time and through the hands of Ahman Green.
See, I just think that the Packers are making a mistake. Tom Rossley, who's the offensive coordinator, talked about moving Brett Favre a little bit more. I don't believe that him being in a pocket is an effective way for this offense to operate. I think they have to try and get him on the edge with speeds, with waggles. It's easier for him to throw, and he's more of a threat because he can stretch the defense and find the holes to get the ball to his receivers easier.
Well, he asked for more of that. He wanted more rollouts and bootlegs.
Not getting it tonight. I'm surprised.
Green, nice hole off the right side. And Ahman Green up to the 28-yard line, right at the marker, and it appears with the spot he'll have the first down.
Well, you know, I tell you what, with Ahman Green running the ball the way he's running, that's the first time they ran him tonight in this first quarter, and this is about to end, up off the tackle or inside the tackles. Everything that he has run so far has been outside. Now, Minnesota Vikings made an adjustment inside or outside, so now they're running the ball inside. Very simple.
It's been a fast first quarter here at the Metrodome. 7-6 Vikings over the Packers. The Packers absolutely desperate for a win to get back in the divisional race. The Vikings want to end it tonight. There are their superstars. Culpepper and Moss have hooked up for the only touchdown in this game, and they lead 7-6. Even though Green Bay has already racked up 112 yards rushing in one quarter. Favre leads them out. 1st and 10. Rifles to Driver.
Boy, I'll tell you what, it's just, you know, Driver has been open the whole first quarter. Now, they've been running the football, but you get Driver on the outside. When we asked him yesterday about the corners, he said, you asked me, so you have any problem with either one of these corners? He said, neither one of them could cover me.
Yeah, the only problem he has is trying to jump up and snatch that bullet that's going by him.
Well, he already has the middle finger on his right hand broken twice by Brett Favre bullets. Now Favre in trouble. Back to Davenport. What improvisation by Brett Favre.
I'm sorry, but I just had to start laughing. He's running to his right, and he's like he's going to go down, and he sees Davenport open. Watch this. Watch his feet. Look what happens here. Whoops. Whoa. He's going backwards, folks, and hits it, Davenport, right in the gut with the ball.
Just knows where everybody is. He's like Randy Moss. He sees the entire field. Randy sees it when the ball's in the air. Brett sees it before it gets in the air.
Davenport. This is a big running back. 250-pound tailback down to the 16-yard line. Corey Chavis makes another saving tackle. That's a gain of 23, and they are just killing the Vikings' run defense.
Michael, William Henderson's block on Greg Beekert. Look at 54. Now watch him step up in the hole. And here comes 33 Henderson. Bam! I mean, he knocks him out of the hole. And there goes Davenport. What a great block.
This guy's 6'1", 250. Packers have already rushed for 135. Ahman Green is back in the eye. Favre throws a strike to Green out of the backfield. He's down near the 5.
What the Packers are doing by running the football as much as they are, what you're going to wind up seeing is, and I believe that they're going to they'll get to some movement, they'll get some play action, they'll get Favre moving around a little bit, and the Vikings won't know where the pack is coming from. When you take into consideration for Green Bay, their leading receiver is Ahman Green, a running back. Their leading reception touchdown guy is William Henderson, their fullback.
That little dust-up was between Hovan and Rivera, two really tough guys. First and goal, Green Bay.
3 running backs.
And Favre will use a timeout with 12:23 to go in the first half. Green Bay driving to take the lead.
ESPN Sunday Night Football, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Friendly nonstop service all across the country. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. And Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light.
Trick or treat! It's great to have you with us.
Paul, you never looked that good.
Oh,
well, that's funny.
Actually, you did once when you were that young.
That is funny.
I didn't realize I was that short.
Wonder who says that.
I felt so short.
You are short.
I wondered what we did on Friday night. Now I remember.
Favre, Ahman Green, touchdown.
There's your
Brian Russell couldn't stay with him.
There's your play action.
You think this guy isn't in the ball game? Favre?
17 straight games with a touchdown, the longest current streak for any quarterback in the NFL.
Watch the play fake inside to William Henderson. It holds the linebackers just enough. Lance Johnstone can't get there quick enough. He's trying to make a play on the ball. Perfectly thrown ball to Ahman Green.
If Brett Favre isn't careful when the thumb heals, they're going to break it again on purpose. He is a marvel. Number 3 all-time in touchdown passes. That was number 328. Back in Minnesota for Sunday Night Football, where the Packers lead the Vikings 13-7. If you joined us late, here's what you've missed. A lot of offense to start with. Opening possession. The Packers go inside the 5, have to settle for a field goal. Randy Moss comes right back on the bomb from Culpepper as the Vikings take the lead. Longwell cut it to 1 with another field goal. And then Brett Favre hits Ahman Green out of the backfield for the touchdown. And that's where we stand right now. The injured player, Derek Combs and Robert Ferguson, as they covered the kickoff and ran together. Culpepper back to work. Runs away from pressure and throws incomplete to Kleinsasser up at the 21.
Well, they have, that time they had Randy Moss bracketed.
They'll have Randy Moss bracketed all the time. I really think if the Vikings want to continue to win football games and become the team that they believe they can and go on to a championship, other guys are going to have to step up, because as the year goes on, people are just going to take Randy or try to take Randy out of the game. That means that Burleson and Bennett and Campbell are going to have to make big plays for this offense.
Bennett in his first game back this year. Nice cut to get free. Dives out near the 30. That's where they needed to get for the first down. Nick Barnett, the rookie middle linebacker out of Oregon State, who had never played middle linebacker at any level of football until now, made the tackle, and he leads the club in stops.
But I'll tell you one thing. We just saw how fast Michael Bennett is. I mean, when he hit the hole, he cut back. He had the 10 yards.
Yeah, but I think also Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, Mike Tice, the head coach, got to be careful using him too much in his first game back. You don't want to get him hurt. You don't want to wear him out in the first one.
First and 10, Moss goes to the far side. Bennett again. This time picks up only a couple. Darren Sharper with the stop. Michael Bennett last year set an NFL season record when he posted runs of 60 yards or more in 3 straight games. He had an 85-yard run for a touchdown against the Bucs. Followed that up with 78 against the Giants, and then went 62 the next week against the Packers. He has legitimate sprinter speed, and when he gets in the open, he's gone. The only guy I think that might be able to chase him down is his teammate, Randy Moss. Culpepper, 4-man rush, no pressure, and throws wide of Mo Williams coming out of the backfield. And he ended up isolated on a defensive lineman, Larry Smith.
That's something. I mean, you look at what Ed Donatel, the defensive coordinator, did there. He decided to bring some pressure, but he didn't bring it with just a defensive line. That time you had a defensive end drop off and cover the back across the formation.
In the play before that, Sharper, as you mentioned, made the tackle, Michael. He came on a safety blitz and made the tackle on a running play.
Giving Dante a lot of different looks. You can see by his pass completion percentage, he hasn't figured them out yet.
He's missed his last 5 after a quick start. 3-man rush this time. Culpepper tries to take off and didn't have a chance. Great job by KGB off the right end.
Well, it was a good rush by the defensive line, but what they did is they would not even let Randy Moss off the line of scrimmage. They put 2 guys on him. Look at here. One, a linebacker and a safety. Right inside on him. He has no place to go. And then Culpepper looks. He's not there. KGB, now that's hustle.
That's what I was talking about. I mean, that was basically like a punt cover team.
Exactly.
What it is you go out and cover gunners the same way. Matter of fact, in the punts here, they're only covering the gunners with 1 guy the Packers are.
Eddie Johnson, the kick to Chapman. Makes a late fair catch signal at the 22. A punt of 46. Brett Favre will lead that Packers offense back on the field when we return to Minnesota. Favre has already been spectacular. He has his club on top 13-7 over the Vikings here in the Dome, where he's won only 2 of 11 starts. Favre with time down the sideline and incomplete. Henderson, the fullback, diving for it. Henry Crockett running with him.
You know, Michael, you made an interesting point. Favre has only won 2 of 11 starts here. In both of those games that he has won, he has not thrown an interception. There he is setting it up now. Try to get it out to William Henderson. He's your big fullback going down, and he's not going to be able to adjust to a ball like, say, Amon Green or one of the wide receivers is. You almost have to hit him in perfect stride.
9:56 to go first half. Green tripped up. Let's go to Susie.
Come on, guys. The tumultuous love-hate relationship between Chris Hovan and Brett Favre has been well documented. truly, though, it's based on respect. That Hovan has Favre's jersey in his locker. Chris says Favre should be flattered, and he keeps it as a reminder, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. And Favre calls Hovan the key to the Vikes D. He says he's just an incredible, disruptive player, so high energy. Every team needs a guy like that.
Boy, don't they ever. And you're right, Susie, they do have tremendous respect for each other. Fisher is in, takes the screen. Got a couple of nice blocks and a first down to the 35.
The one thing about Hovan, what he does when Favre said he disrupts, watch his hand. He's always grabbing. He's got two people. When he does this, he's really containing two people. Everyone else should be making moves and making plays. The only way you're going to get Hovan is to get him around the neck. At that time, they tried to do it. Rivera tried to do it to him, and Wall came back at him. But the play before was when Hovan made the play. He just grabs two people and holds on.
Hasn't been able to get the sacks this year, but he's always around. Favre rifles one complete to Antonio Freeman, who rejoined this team when injuries depleted the receiving corps. And you remember Antonio Freeman when he was here and was a star. He was one of those guys that said, you know, you got to throw me the ball more, you got to do this, you got to do that. He said, I'm back. I'm not here to make waves. I'm here to fit in whatever they need me to do.
He's the Packers' answer to Mo Williams on the Vikings.
Yes, he is.
You've got a guy who's willing to do whatever the team needs, and he also has a very, very strong comfort level with Brett Favre.
2nd and 4 for Green Bay. Ahman Green. Boy, he has found some gaping holes.
One of the things about Ahman Green is he is a left-handed ball carrier. That ball's in his left hand. Now, most running backs are taught, if you get to the right, get it away from pursuit and put it in your right hand. He does not do that. He's never done it, and he never will. And that time, you saw his elbow get away from his body a little bit. If that happens too often, the ball's coming out. 17
yards on that carry. He has 86 in the first half. And now back to Davenport, and he's gang tackled at the 41. Ahman Green has gone ahead of Priest Holmes for the most yards since 2000, scrimmage yards, 6,405. How'd you like to be in that group? Green, Holmes, and Williams, 3 complete backs. And Henderson is now the injured player for the Green Bay Packers.
Of course, Priest has the week off. The Chiefs have a bye.
And deserve it.
Even though Ahmad has struggled a little bit, I mean, he really isn't, you know, I mean, for the amount of times that he handles the ball, you say he's fumbled 5 times. It isn't the fact that he's fumbled that. They've come at very crucial times in the last couple games. The one against the Rams last week, the one against the Chiefs the week before.
And he has been the most productive back in Packers history. His rushing average per game, almost 86 yards a game, higher than anybody else who has ever played for Green Bay.
Well, and what shows you how quick he is on that play 2 plays ago when he ran. William Henderson is up. I mean, here's a guy they really cannot afford to lose.
Absolutely.
Not only is he a great receiver, but an excellent blocker. We saw that on Ahman Green's run.
And back to Ahman a second. What happened is in the bye week, it was something that Mike Sherman, the head coach, decided to focus on very, very heavily with Ahman Green was ball security. Telling them you don't need to get the extra yard. Just make sure you don't put the ball on the ground.
2nd and 9 as Driver is now in at tailback. Driver will get the carry behind Davenport down to the 41. Or Fisher, check it.
I think this is a big 3rd down for the Minnesota Vikings. I think this defense has got to get off the field. The Packers get in and out of the huddle so quickly. You'll see them get to the line of scrimmage with 18 seconds to go. I mean, they are putting a lot of pressure on Minnesota's defense. And they need to get off the field and get a little bit of a blow and get that offense to get some first downs.
And this is a defense that came in 9th against the run in the NFL. They show blitz and come with it. Favre rifles intercepted by Corey Chavis. Corey Chavis, his 7th of the year. That leads the National Football League. And that's his 3rd off of Brett Favre this year. When they moved Corey Chavis from corner to safety, you knew great things were going to happen.
He just stares down Brett Favre. Corey Chavis is so smart. You say, how can he be in that position when they're blitzing and he's got all that field to cover? You could see his eyes. He never took him off of Brett Favre. He knows he's got to get the ball out quick, and he just goes where Brett took him.
He has a dossier on everyone on offense that he's ever played against. Great field position for Minnesota at the Green Bay 45. Culpepper, KGB from behind. Got it to Mo Williams. Great job of keeping his balance to the 36.
I mentioned before, Brett Favre is 2-9 in the Dome. Why? In those records, in the 2 games he won, he has not thrown an interception. Now, if they can go on and win here, he will have broken the span of things that have happened to him. There's the change of pace by the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to go no huddle at the line of scrimmage. A little bit of a change-up, gain back some momentum. 2nd down and short.
Mo Williams has the 1st down and then wrapped up at the 34-yard line.
You know what was interesting about that Corey Chavis, his interception, is that what they did, the Minnesota Vikings blitzed to Brett Favre's left-hand side, and we saw when he saw all those guys coming, he just stepped and he's going to go right. Chavis just sat there. He didn't move anywhere. He just waited in that slot and took it.
And give George O'Leary, the defensive coordinator, a lot of credit for finding a tendency, knowing what Brett wants to do when he feels pressure from one side, and leaving Corey on the other to play as a freewheeler in the middle.
And George O'Leary was a hire that a lot of people questioned. Mike Tice had been coached by him in high school, and here is another running play inside the 25. Mo Williams caught by Antoine Edwards. Mike Tice played high school football on Long Island for George O'Leary. He went on to have great success in the college ranks, got the Notre Dame job, and then was dismissed because of discrepancies on his resume. He was out of football. Mike Tice hired him as the defensive line coach. This year, elevated him to defensive coordinator, and people said, boy, you really helped out an old friend. He said, no, sir, I was helping out my football team.
2nd down in inches. What a great place for a play-action fake.
Let's go to Susie.
Well, one of the things that George O'Leary did was he introduced a number of drills to increase takeaways in practice, simulate the movement of the DBs that you would make during a game, because these guys know that they have to be on the move. The quarterback isn't exactly trying to hit them. So he forces them to try to catch the ball from odd positions off the machines. It certainly has worked for Corey Chavis.
And they have been a turnover machine this year.
Got Jim Kleinsasser, the big fullback, tight end in the backfield.
And Kleinsasser lowers his head and has the 1st down. A rare carry for Kleinsasser.
I just don't think Jim Kleinsasser gets enough credit for this offense. If you have a guy that has that good of hands and is that versatile to play tight end, come back in the fullback, be a blocking back, these are critical times in a game. Picking up a crucial 1st down, being an outlet receiver. His value, I think, gets overlooked quite often to this Viking offense.
One other thing, too, you got to really like the play that they just called. Normally, in other years, you would see the Minnesota Vikings run a play-action pass and try to get the ball to Randy Moss right away. This time, they're patient. They know they're in great field position. They just need 1st down.
The way to play.
And they know that offensive line can hammer straight ahead. Bennett cuts it outside. Well, he's doing just fine coming off a fractured foot.
Well,
what cuts?
What you have to do with Michael Bennett, because he is so quick and he can get to the outside, you can't get yourself caught on the inside. If you look right there, they got caught on the inside. Campman, number 74 of the Packers, got himself taken inside, and when they did that, Bennett just popped it to the outside. It was wide open.
Again, Kleinsasser at the left end position seals the corner and allows Bennett to get outside.
1st and goal. Mo Williams is back in. And Culpepper wants to change the play.
I think he may try and go one-on-one with Randy.
Got Moss isolated out there. Instead, they give it to Mo Williams. Inside the 5 to the 4. Hannibal Navies made the tackle.
You don't always need Randy Moss to catch balls. What you can do with Randy Moss is his presence will take the support out. You watch him go out. The run's going to go this way, but the corner's not there to support. That's the key. Randy Moss, all he needs to do is come off the line a little bit. Now he comes in and does a stone block on the safety.
2nd and goal. Moss this time. In motion. Culpepper to Klein-Saucer, touchdown. They spread the field, and Klein-Saucer was wide open in the middle. That was beautifully designed.
You know, you talk about all the things. You saw Randy Moss catch a touchdown. You saw Randy Moss block. And I'll tell you right now, that hole, when he goes on one side of the field, he just opened everything up on the other side.
You saw Randy Moss attract a crowd.
That's right. He does everything. But, you know, and they used him tonight beautifully.
Boy, he goes in motion. He's like a magnet. The whole defense just rolls
well,
that way.
You have to.
Sure.
I mean, you'd be a fool not to.
Aaron Elling, whose back is finally healthy, comes in for the point after. And Minnesota regains the lead at 14-13.
Doc, you take a look at the way the Minnesota Vikings will spread. Look at the way everybody is spread out. What's going to happen then is Klein-Saucer's just going to come out here and go right inside. There he is, slides up. Okay, little bump on the end. Nobody there. There he is, rolling along. Just keep it rolling.
Look at the arms on Chris Hovan. Holy smokes.
Tree trunk.
They are bigger than the goalpost.
But you know, I'll tell you how valuable that entire drive was. It gave their defense a chance to catch their breath a little bit. And now Brett Favre has got to get that momentum back. What I've seen so far of the Green Bay Packers is the exact same thing I saw before the break they had. They play well in spots and in one or two key plays, and they're right back in a hole.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, when you just saw Favre on that screen, he knows exactly what he can do against his team, and he's playing extremely well. He had an interception. I'm telling you, it bothers you, but not as much that guy as it does other people.
That's the 5th interception in 2 games this year, though. Threw 4 in the first game of the year against these guys.
Elling to kick. Chapman is the deep man. High and short. Chapman at the 11. Taken down at the 27-yard line. E.J. Henderson, the former Maryland star, made the tackle. Next Sunday night at 7:30, watch NFL Prime Time to get caught up on all the day's action. Then Ray Lewis, Jamal Lewis, and the Ravens go to St. Louis to battle Mark Bulger, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk, and the Rams on ESPN Sunday Night Football at 8:30. Boy, are we looking forward to that.
Well, the last time we saw Ray Lewis play is when he got hurt in a game we did a year ago, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this guy play again. I just think he's terrific.
What a great interception he made today to save that game against Jacksonville.
Draw play, Amon Green. Chavis with another tackle on Green up near the 37-yard line. The 2-minute warning comes officially at 1:56. The Vikes up by 1. When you ask opposing players about Chris Hovan, they say he just drives them nuts. Absolutely drives them nuts because he never quits on any play. He is in their face.
He's got a great motor to this guy. I mean, that's what Favre said about him. He said he's got a great motor. He just doesn't even know how to stop.
Mike Flanagan, the center, said sometimes you just want to tell him, stop. Just quit. It's over. Favre under pressure. Got away and throws it to Green. Green to the 41-yard line.
Again, there are very few people that can do that.
Well, he just
when you're going the other way, though, Joe, and then throw it 100 miles an hour.
That's why he's so effective. He throws going backwards.
Under pressure again, and this time they got it. And with that bad thumb, he has to be so careful.
And
Kevin Williams, the rookie out of Oklahoma State, gets the sack.
What a horse he is. Kevin Williams is a defensive end. He's number 93. He moves to tackle in pass rush situations. There you see him reach around. Very unusual at 310 pounds to be a defensive end in this league.
Green Bay has just used its last timeout. Chris Hovan wired on Sunday night.
Y'all ready on Sunday night? Y'all ready to rock and roll? Green and gold, I just don't like green and yellow. Purple and yellow, that's a nice color. Hey, we're fine, man. Let's go. We set the tempo out here.
You have the feeling just leave him alone, and when he's by himself, he's really happy.
Oh, absolutely. That timeout, by the way, was charged to the Vikings, not the Packers, so Green Bay still has one left, facing a 3rd and 10. Screen. Ahman Green, blockers in front, shakes a tackle across midfield, all the way to the 36-yard line. Another big gain, 27.
Here's another guy. Don't you even think about arm tackling this guy, because when you do that, he's going to show you the power. Screen pass Ahman Green. Watch, he'll break inside, arm tackle, arm tackle. 2 guys. And you're not going to arm tackle and get him down.
What a good job by that Packer offensive line to get out in front.
Right back to the ground, and this time it's the backup tailback, Tony Fisher. Boy, they're just eating up the middle of that line.
Well, they're eating it up because they're pass rushing, and they're trying to get to Brett Favre.
Favre in the hurry-up. Pump fake. Throws it deep. Freeman was down there, but incomplete.
And what's going to happen is the Minnesota Vikings are going to have too many men on the field. Kevin Williams tried to get off the field in time, as well as Mixon. They wound up with 12 players on the field.
Coming up at the Toyota halftime show with Chris Berman. He'll have the fastest 3 minutes in television, his halftime heroes, and we'll also have our Sunday Stud update coming up on the Toyota halftime show.
I'll tell you, this has been the fastest hour and a half.
Hasn't it?
I mean, this game moves.
I'm saying, when you get a little penalty and you get a break like this, you take a breath. Everybody's sitting at home going, man, I got to go to the can. I'm going to move this thing along. I can't miss it. It's too exciting.
Already in field goal range. The Packers with a chance to regain the lead. 33 seconds to go in the half. 1st and 5. They do have a timeout left. Favre pumps twice, throws it away.
Oh, he almost made a critical mistake. He had Javon Walker coming from the left side of the formation all the way back across. And he almost pulled the trigger on him. It's going to come right across the formation, and Brett's going to just, nope, I'm not going to throw it. He just stops. Scrambles to the right. There he comes across the formation, pulls the trigger back because he knew that was going to get picked off. It happened to him in the first game. He says, I'm not making the same mistake twice.
2nd and 5. Favre to the 5, touchdown, Javon Walker.
Boy, oh man, was this a great move by Javon Walker. I mean, they were playing pass defense the whole time.
This is what happens when you know and have hots built in. Here comes the blitz. Javon Walker's looking back at Brett Favre all the way. He sees the safeties come. Denard Walker can't make the adjustment. And the green and gold Walker winds up in the end zone.
Javon Walker played 3 years of minor league baseball, went to junior college for 2 years, and then 2 years at Florida State. He came out of college with great skills. Last year hampered by a lot of drops, but he is growing into his role as a 3rd receiver, and that time Favre found him for the touchdown.
Say one thing about you better never do when Favre's throwing the ball. Don't play off a receiver. You better get up on him, because if you are off him, he's going to find him, and he's quick enough to get it there.
Well, this is what happens when you have an offense that has what's called hots into them. If the safeties come, that means that the wide receivers break their routes off and get to an area where the quarterback can get rid of it instead of dropping back and just getting pummeled all the time. There's some offenses in this league that don't allow the quarterback to get rid of the football or adjust with the receivers.
You see one today?
Yeah, I saw one with the Redskins today. I mean, Patrick Ramsey got my vote as the toughest guy in the world today with pounding that kid tough.
I'll tell you, Patrick Ramsey today, they packed him in ice and put him on the plane. I've never seen a guy take such a beating.
What a courageous kid he is. Wow. But now the Vikings are going to have to say, all right, we're in a game, down by 6.
21 seconds to go in the half, and Ontario Smith is back with Keenan Howry. Let's see if the Vikings can do anything with the last 21. Smith from the 9. Oh, here comes a fake, and it doesn't work. Packers special teams weren't buying it. Let's check in with Chris Berman. Boomer?
I'm Chris Berman. Coming up on our Toyota Halftime Show, we'll have our fastest 3 minutes. We'll have halftime heroes. We'll look at the Colts going 7-1, winning in Miami. Tim Rattay, Otay, as the Niners crush the Rams. And the Battle of New York. It was so good, or so interesting, he went to overtime. All that at halftime.
All right, Chris, 14 seconds to go in this one. The Vikings from their own 21. And they'll run a conservative play with Mo Williams on the draw. Fans don't like it, but a pretty smart call with that little time remaining in that field position. So a big offensive half for both ball clubs, particularly Brett Favre. He was brilliant, as he usually is. 20-14. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, your quarterback doing amazing things with a broken thumb. How impressed are you with Brett Favre?
Well, with Brett, you're not overly impressed because you see it every day. And he's done it in practice. He does it in games. You know, there's nothing overly impressive about him. That's how he is every single day.
One of the priorities you said you worked on in the bye week was the defense on 3rd down. How do you assess it?
Well, I think we've done a pretty decent job so far, but we got a lot of football to play, and they get some great talent over there and a great 3rd down attack. So we'll see how we do in the second half.
Thanks, Coach.
I think.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Coach Sherman. Our score here at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. The Packers 20, the Vikings 14. Let's join Chris Berman for the Toyota Halftime Show.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. And so a surprise thus far at the half. Just when you think the Packers, no shot, they're at the Metrodome. Naturally, they have the lead. You know, the Indianapolis Colts, they make the playoffs. They hadn't gone very far. Sometimes they don't make the playoffs. So they looked at their goals going into the season. Okay, what do we need to do? Well, we need to beat Tennessee. The Titans have handled them. Well, they did that earlier this year. They need to have a big comeback on the road against a quality team. They did that in the Monday night game at Tampa Bay. And then Peyton Manning 2-8 lifetime against the Miami Dolphins. They need to somehow beat the Dolphins on the road. That's how we start our fastest 3 minutes. The Colts are a team growing in front of your eyes. With the 16-7 lead for Indianapolis, Brian Griese to Chris Chambers. Time has come today. The Dolphins within 2. Then Peyton Manning, Troy Walters touchdown. Colts open up some breathing room. With the score 23-17, Dwight Freeney had 3 sacks, forced 2 fumbles. You saw it there. Both Colts win 23-17. They're 7-1. How about this strike from Tony Banks starting today for Houston to Andre Johnson? Then Banks to Billy Miller. Cowboy up. Texans shock the Panthers 14-10. Speaking of shocking, Rams at the 49ers. Cedric Wilson, more on him in the moment. But the opening kickoff, he beats his man to the sidelines, and he could go all the way. The Niners have a lead already over St. Louis. Tim Rattay making his first NFL start for the league, 4 years. Brandon Lloyd touchdown. Niners beat the Rams 30-10. Same old never mind. Steelers at Seahawks. Pat Hasselbeck, Darrell Jackson. Touchdown. Seattle now in first by the lonesome. They beat Pittsburgh 23-16. Quincy Carter under pressure. Slings one to Terry Glenn. She runs into the end zone, 19 yards. Cowboys beat the Redskins 21-14. They beat them 11 of the last 12. Donovan McNabb, a 300-yard day. A rare Freddie Mitchell sighting. Touchdown. Philly leads at Atlanta 10-0. Deuce Staley, 4-yard touchdown. Philly wins 23-16. They're 5-3. Giants, Jets. Chad Pennington, first start of the year to Anthony Beck. He had 4 touchdown passes to Pennington, 28 all to overtime. Brett Conway. No, it's Tim Conway. What, McHale? He misses. And then the Jets had to rush this kick as time was running off in the play. Why? You might as well let the field goal kicker be ready. Doug Bryant's kick blocked. And then with just seconds left in the OT. Conway, this time good. Giants beat the Jets 31-28. Brad Johnson in the box. Takeda McCardell, Bucks from behind and tied New Orleans 14-all. But John Cotty, Sheila McCray, Audrey Meadows, good night, everybody. The Saints beat the Bucks 17-14. Chester Taylor for Baltimore. 29-yard scamper. And the Ravens lead Jacksonville 24-10. Byron Leftwich fumbled a couple times, led him to a late touchdown, but then Ray Lewis seals it with this pick of Leftwich. 24-17, the Ravens 5-3. Jeff Blake, Anquan Bolden, Arizona leads the Bengals 17-14. John Kitna trying to rally. Dexter Jackson saves the day. The Cards have won 17-14. The A-Train back. Touchdown, Chicago. They lead San Diego 10-0, who summoned Doug Flutie off the bench. He led San Diego a touchdown and a first down. The Chargers wouldn't win this day, but thank you to Alex Spanos, the owner, who gave $1 million toward the recovery efforts of those families hindered by the San Diego area fire. And the Lions beat the Raiders 23-13. What has happened to the defending AFC champs? They're in the black hole.
This halftime show is presented by Toyota. Get the feeling.
When we return, our halftime heroes, many dressed as Indianapolis Colts, and Chad Pennington, valiant, albeit in a Gotham defeat.
For the Green Bay Packers, a night of desperation. They have to win to stay in the divisional race. Brett Favre doing everything he can to ensure it. The Vikings have called this championship week. A win tonight, they're 4 games up in the division. Nobody has ever blown a 4-game lead for a divisional championship in the history of the NFL. And the Packers lead it by 6 at the half, and we couldn't have asked for a more entertaining half. Brett Favre with a broken bone in his thumb. He's been Brett Favre.
I think they have to keep it up. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to have to match the tempo of the Green Bay Packers. The Giants came in here and stole one from them last week. It looks like the Packers have taken that same approach. Amon Green gets to the corners, throw the ball down the middle.
When you look at Favre's face after he threw the interception, you just knew that he knows what he's doing in this ball game, and he is in control. Don't think anything else.
The Vikings will get the ball to start the second half. And they'll start from the 23. Moments ago, Susie Culver caught up with Mike Tice.
Mike, it's been like a track meet. How do you manage to slow Brett Favre in the second half?
Well, we need to tackle better. They're only doing a few things. They're screening, running some draws, a little bit off tackle, and we got to get up and tackle. They're not playing this 40-play offense. They're playing about 4 or 5 plays, and we're not playing well. We're not playing aggressively on defense. We need to pick it up.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, you got it.
Thank you, Susie. And Mike Tice is probably the most open and honest head coach you will ever meet in any sport. He tells you exactly what is on his mind. Culpepper, nice play fake. Now under pressure and throws to the sideline. Kleinsaucer barely forced out of bounds after he got about 9.
You know, guys, the one thing that I think is missing from this Viking offense that I noticed in the first half is Dante Culpepper's reluctance to take off, tuck the ball under, and run. He had 50 yards rushing in the first game against the Packers. He's 6 of 11 throwing the football. They don't have enough plays. Only 4 yards with 1 rush. And now he's tried to scramble, but I think that he has to be a part of this running game for that offense to be totally effective.
Second and 1, and Bennett, who has made a nice return to the lineup after missing 7 games, coming off 2 surgeries on that fractured foot.
There's another guy you don't want to try to tackle with your arms either. Cletus Hunt, that time, number 97, tried that. Bennett just kept right on going, picked up the first down.
Only 85 yards passing for the Vikings in the first half. You see the total yards for the Packers, 317 yards in the first half of football.
And they're only winning by 6.
Culpepper dumps it to Bennett. Trying to get outside, but Nick Barnett, the middle linebacker, wouldn't let him go. Remember, a year ago, the Vikings had the #1 rushing offense in the National Football League. You had Bennett, and then you had Culpepper, who picked up a ton of yards last year.
I think anytime your rushing yards are high, it's because the quarterback's able to do it 400 or 500 yards. Also, remember, the Green Bay Packers last year, Hardy Nickerson was their middle linebacker. Nick Barnett gives them an upgrade in speed and coverage ability.
Mo Williams will check in on 2nd and 5 for the Vikings. And Mo Williams will get the ball. Nice hole off the left side. And picks up about 5.5. Looks like another first down for Minnesota.
What is happening?
I think they're short, Paul.
No, they already gave it to him.
I am in.
Didn't even bother to measure, Joe.
One of the things that Green Bay has to do is they got to make sure that the outside linebacker gets to the outside and stays on the outside. Because what the Minnesota Vikings are doing with Klein Saucer and company, they're caving the end-to-end. When they're doing that, there's nobody else on the outside.
Because they're trying to run out under Randy Moss.
Everett Lindsey, number 62, is in at that left tackle right now. Flanker screen to Moss. Stiff arms McKenzie. And then McKenzie and Hannibal Navies combined to take him out of bounds. But 5 extra yards after that stiff arm by Randy Moss.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, there's a number 81, Burleson, gets a tremendous block. He's on the top of your screen. Watch this. On Sharper, he just knocks him out of the way. That leaves Randy Moss 1-on-1 on the outside. He picks up the first down. Here it comes again. Watch this. Bang. That's a pretty good block now.
Yeah.
That's not just leaning
receiver
there.
Yeah.
That's not leaning. That's hitting.
Delivering a blow.
Burleson is the rookie out of Nevada, Reno. Numbers on Moss, 63 yards and that one early touchdown. Culpepper. Burleson. He had beaten Al Harris by a step, but overthrown by Culpepper.
That ball was in the air for 60 yards, pal.
He's got a rocket for an arm.
60 yards that ball was in the air.
We forget that Culpepper's really only like his 4th year of playing. I mean, Burleson goes up top, and he slows down just a hair. Just a hair he slowed down. And then he wasn't quite able to get it. I mean, once you start running, you better haul, because when Dante cuts it loose, it's not going to change gears in midair.
Well, he didn't have anybody like that at Nevada, Reno. Kelly Campbell is in as a wide receiver. He's got great speed, too. Mo Williams pounding straight up the middle, got about 6.
I think the Vikings might be in 4-down territory here. I mean, this is going to be 3rd and about. Well, you know, I mean,
they move down here by you again.
I mean, if they wind up close to the 32-yard line,
yeah.
You know, you're talking about a 50-some-odd yard field goal, and Ellen, you know, had a bad back, so it might be. Might be. Just put it out there, Paul.
I'll move back by you.
Move back over. Try and earn you the way back.
Packers come with a 4-man rush. Culpepper double clutch. Got the first down, complete to Dwayne Bates, who makes his first catch of the night. Bates had missed 4 games with a bruised foot, and that was only his 5th catch of the entire season.
You know, Joe said something back in the first quarter of this ball game when Randy Moss, after he caught the touchdown, he said, you know, there other guys have to step up in this offense. If they're going to be successful, and you're absolutely right, Joe, the rest of the year, these guys like Bates and these guys have to make plays.
Which they're doing tonight.
Yes.
Bennett comes back in at tailback as they have rotated Mo Williams with their superstar. Bennett has to dance in the backfield and then cut down. Chucky Wakori came up and made the stop.
Paul, to go along with what you were talking about as far as other guys having to step up, this is what teams are trying to do to Randy Moss. You get up and you get physical with him, as Al Harris does. Just shadow him, you put the safety over the top. Now all of a sudden McKenzie plays off him a little bit and undercuts him, and the safety's behind him. There's Al Harris getting real physical, and we've also seen him with 2 guys out right in front of him. So they've given him varied looks.
3 wideouts on 2nd and 11. Instead, they go to the ground, and Mo Williams inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. It's going to leave him about 8 yards shy of a first down.
You know what's really amazing? Both of these teams have been running the ball extremely well. Now, the Packers in the first half had, what, 181 yards rushing.
Well, and they ran it, and they were running at the perimeters. Now with Michael Bennett back on the field for the Vikings, they can also hit the perimeters. The other thing is, if you run towards Randy Moss, you basically eliminate the corner support because he's got to preoccupy himself with Randy running down the field.
Here's the blitz. They come off the corners. Culpepper gets out of the way and throws on the run, and incomplete, intended for Moss. Michael Hawthorne putting pressure on one of the backup safeties as they came on the blitz.
Boy, that's the strength of Dante Culpepper. Most any other quarterback's going to wind up going down, but he's coming off the corner. There he is. Watch. Top of your frame. There he comes right up the top. Clean shot at him. Good job by Mo Williams, just catching a piece of him. And then Culpepper trying to go down the field. Watch Mo Williams. Just gets a little bit of a nudge, allowing Culpepper to escape and throw it away.
Aaron Elling will try a 47-yard field goal. Started to hook, but made it through. Boy, that just hung on the post. And really, from our angle, that looked like it didn't make it. But the official has the last call. We're back to a 3-point game. Packers lead the Vikings by 3. 8:48 to go in a critical game for Green Bay. In the NFC North, Brett Favre with a broken thumb on his passing hand has hit 65% of his throws. Under pressure here. Steps up, throws sidearm and incomplete. Driver couldn't hold it.
This is what Brett Favre, this is where I think Brett Favre is so effective. He gets clear throwing lanes out of the pocket. Play action fake to Davenport. Wants to go up the middle, nope, throws it out to Mark. Now he comes back, little play action to Henderson, get it out quick over Johnstone. Ahman Green with the touchdown. Now Javon Walker, little jump here, little jump there, touchdown. I mean, it's just, this is where I think he's so effective. 6 for 8 out of the pocket and a touchdown. Only 7 for 13 in the pocket. Tom Rossley, the offensive coordinator, moving him around a little bit more.
4-man rush, some pressure coming, and Favre throws it away. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, you could probably search the whole sports world and you wouldn't find a more natural-born leader than Favre. But while he loves to joke around with his teammates, he is not the pep talk type. He believes in leading by example. You play hurt, you give 100%, you practice hard. Young guys will look and say, if he can do it, I damn sure better, and he believes that speaks volumes.
All right, Susie, and you're right. He is a tremendous leader by example. Just what he does, playing hurt all the time. He's hurt again tonight with that broken thumb on his passing hand. Fisher on the screen, nowhere to go. The Vikings swarm on defense.
You know, you were talking about how good this game is, and the game is 20-17, Packers lead. You know, there's only been 3 penalties in this ball game. 1 against the Green Bay Packers that cost them a touchdown and 4 points. They ended up getting a field goal. And only 2 against the Minnesota Vikings. You talk about these guys playing hard and clean.
And smart.
And smart.
Bidwell will kick to Keenan Howery, who waits at his own 26. Wow. Whoa. Launched one. Howery all the way back. Backpedals to the 7. Got one block at the corner, but can't avoid another tackler at the 19-yard line. Good job by Torrance Marshall. A return of 12 after a punt of 60. Can Randy Moss bring this club back? They're down by 3, third quarter. Brett Favre being tended to on the sideline, looking at some pictures from upstairs. Offsetting penalties on the punt, and as we come back, they will kick it all over again. Howery is back, Bidwell the punt. A lot of pressure. Bidwell got it out of there. Another good kick. Howery this time at the 19. And takes it back to the 27-yard line. So they pick up about 8 yards. And now there's another flag down. They pick up about 8 yards.
This is going to be
the second punt.
This is going to be a personal foul, I think, against the Packers. I think this one's going a long way against the Packers.
I'm really glad I brought up they only had 3 penalties. They had 2 on that last punt and 1 here.
Way to go,
I knew
Paul.
the minute you did it, it was over. And the preliminary indication, it's on Rob Davis, number 60. They've really tried to clean up a lot of these late hits after the play's over.
Oh, man, that's going to cost him some money.
It should.
And it should cost him some money. Coming in with your head on somebody like that.
That is stupidity.
Whatever you're getting a lot less next week, partner.
So Minnesota now out at its own 43-yard line.
He's the long snapper.
Yeah, Mike,
and that's all he really does is center the ball on field goals, extra points, and punts.
Boy, Mike Sherman's not happy with that.
No, he's not. Fake it to Bennett, fake it to Moss, then throw it to Bennett on the screen. When the Packers did a beautiful job. Gilbert Brown, who is literally playing with one arm. He tore the biceps August 9th, had to talk Mike Sherman into the fact that he could actually play with one arm, and he has done it all year. He has just shown unbelievable courage.
You don't want to screen to the side of Gilbert Brown because there's chances are he's not going to be putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback because he's there to occupy people in the run game. So you want to screen away from where Gilbert is.
Bennett lowers his head and gets a couple. And now everybody's getting a little feisty.
They are, and Michael Bennett is the kind of guy, I mean, he's back now, but you've got to get him on the perimeter. You've got to get him to the outside where he can make the moves that he knows how to make. And his feet are so important to him. Get him out where he can use them.
It's a nice return. He's averaging 5.6 yards a carry. Nick Barnett, the rookie middle linebacker, the injured Packer, will check on him when we come back. Chilly November evening in Minneapolis, where the Vikings are down by 3 to their arch rival, the Packers.
Randy Moss has only had 3 balls thrown to him once since his big touchdown, and it is 3rd down, so it would tell you that Randy will probably get the ball.
3-man rush, screen to Mo Williams. Williams juked one defender, got outside for the first down. What a beautifully patient run to set up the blocks.
But he set it up at David Dixon on the outside. I'll tell you what. Watch number 71 get in the middle of all this. Here he is, David Dixon. Boom, he gets a block. He gets 2 people on the block.
Well, running around David Dixon's like running around a block.
Dixon was a rugby player in his native New Zealand. Didn't know anything about American football until he came here to go to college.
Then he started eating, and he's 350. Now he's a big all-pro guard.
And they wouldn't let him play rugby at 350. Culpepper under pressure. Rolls left. Throws short of Moss. Boy, now Harris wanted an offensive interference call. He is really beefing at the official.
Well, what they wanted to talk, when they talked to us, the Packers said the one thing that we have to do with Dante Culpepper is keep him in front of us and keep him in the pocket. Look at the job they're doing. They've got him right where they want him. Now when he moves out, he's going to try to throw on a run. This is a hard throw, not for Favre, but for Culpepper.
See, I think Dante's almost pulled in the reins a little too much. Come out to the left, tuck it in. I think he has to. I think he's more comfortable when he's running and throwing.
Williams behind that big offensive line, driving his way down to the 35-yard line.
You know, we saw the Green Bay Packers run at the perimeters of the Minnesota Vikings defense based upon the speed of their interior linebackers. What you see the Minnesota Vikings do running at the perimeters is they're running at the smallest defensive ends. I mean, you got KGB is 255 and Campman only about 280. And when you've got an offensive line that averages almost 340, that's the place to go. Plus, Gilbert Brown's inside. No sense going there.
Mo Williams with 59 yards rushing. He's replaced by Bennett on 3rd down and 3. Culpepper swings it to Bennett, trying to get him outside with that speed. Tough run by Bennett, dragging Michael Hawthorne with him.
You want to know a sick feeling in your stomach? And when you are Michael Hawthorne and you see Michael Bennett coming out and you're in open field, watch the move that he makes on Hawthorne. Now you got him. You got to keep him in front of you. So he's letting you there, and then boom, he gives you that stiff arm and gets to the outside. You don't really have a chance.
Boy, a great job by Bennett swatting that arm away as well. Back after this. Packers by 3, but the Vikings driving with 4:17 to go, 3rd quarter. A win for Minnesota would put them 4 games up in the division over Green Bay. Bennett fighting for yards down to the 22.
Having Michael Bennett back, even for just spot duty, has done a very good job. See him get outside behind Randy Moss's block. Good job by the offensive line. Now he uses that speed to cut back. This one's up the middle. What he does is he presses the hole so well, and then you see him accelerate up the field. This quarter, the Vikings have run 19 plays for 79 yards and close to 10 minutes of offense. The Pack have had it 3 plays, 2 yards, in about 1 minute and 20 seconds.
And they only got 3 points so far.
Culpepper looking for a block at the corner and got a good one from Dwayne Bates, who peeled back and got him a couple of extra yards.
See, I think he finally did it, didn't he? I just think that's so much a part of what Daunte Culpepper does for this offense. He's got to average 300-400 yards rushing, I think, to make this offense totally balanced. Now, when he starts outside, defensive backs have got to either commit to tackle him or go find one of the receivers, and you really put him in a bind.
And you're going to get a lot of mail from defensive backs who are going to say, stop encouraging this guy to run because we got to tackle.
It's only 260, 265.
3rd and 3.
You think he's frustrated standing there on the sidelines watching Favre?
Culpepper on a roll. Moss. And throws it away. Nice coverage by the Packers. 1 man short, 1 man deep.
Well, if you're the Minnesota Vikings, you have Brett Favre exactly where you want him, on the sidelines. This is the job of their offense. Go out and continue to make plays. Randy Moss in the flat real quick. Not there, out and up. But the Packers, there he is right there. Darren Sharper right in his hip pocket. And, you know, you've got to find a way to get Randy the ball. You can't let him get frustrated in a football game. I think that's the responsibility of Scott Linehan, their offensive coordinator.
That's what he's just trying to tell you when he's shaking his head.
Give me the ball. Just give me a chance.
Keep it in the playing field.
Elling will try a 37-yard field goal to tie the ball game. And got it. First time we've been tied since the opening kickoff. 2:26 to go, 3rd quarter. 20-20 for Minneapolis. Knotted up at 20 in the 3rd quarter with 2:26 to go. The first meeting between rookies Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James highlights the Wednesday doubleheader on ESPN. Nuggets and Cavaliers at 8, and at 10:30 the Grizzlies and the Trailblazers. That's all Wednesday on ESPN.
LeBron's played pretty well early in the season, averaging about 28, 29 a game. You know, it's interesting. Before the Giant game last week, Mike Tice basically told his ball club that they were too loose. He needed them to get serious, and he admitted making a mistake. He said this team is mature enough to have fun in practice, to have loud music in the locker room. These men know how to get ready to play football. And I thought it was a heck of a move by Mike to come out and say, look, I made a mistake. I understand this team better now.
Did you see Mike with the pencil behind his ear? He said when he first became an assistant coach, he put the pencil in his back pocket, but then he got down on his haunches and it stabbed him in the butt. So he says, now I carry it behind my ear. It's a little safer this way.
You'll also notice he's not calling plays because he gets so excited and mad at things. That's the reason why the Vikings last year had so many delay-of-game penalties because he was supposed to relieve the plays in, and he was too busy yelling at somebody.
Wasn't it amazing he took the blame for the losses? So that was on me, not these guys. I didn't get them prepared to play the way they wanted to play.
Paul, he has done a brilliant job here. Won the last 3 games of last year, 6 out of 7 this year. Chapman is deep for Elling's kick. Chapman from the 9. Runs into his own man and goes down at the 27. It's been a big offensive show for both of these ball clubs. Randy Moss on the bomb from Culpepper, and then Ahman Green on the little pass in the flat. Kleinsasser gets another one from Culpepper. Boy, what a great move by Javon Walker. And another touchdown pass for Brett Favre. And we still have a long time to go. Favre, 14 out of 23, 2 touchdowns, making his 181st consecutive start, an NFL record. And he is playing with that broken bone in his thumb, and they continue to try to adjust the wrap. He's got a splint on top of it because they don't want it to bend. When it bends, that's when it can really hurt, and that's when that broken piece of bone could actually come through the skin, and that would probably force surgery. That'd be 4 or 5 weeks at least.
He's done a good job of moving the ball around. You look at his pass chart. Out to the left, under 15 yards, 7 for 10, the 2 touchdowns off to the right. He's doing well outside, but hasn't really tried to throw the ball downfield. And that's one of the things about this Packer offense this year. It has not had explosive plays. The longest reception is 34 yards, and tonight he's only hit the wide receivers with 3 balls. And that's why you look at Ahman Green coming into the game with 30 catches, and he's the leading receiver.
Packers start from their 27. Green on the toss. Ran through an arm tackle, takes it up to the 33-yard line.
You know what good backs do, and Ahman Green just did it, is he came up limping, is when they're playing you to the outside like the Minnesota Vikings are now. It was a little toss to get him to the outside. The Minnesota Vikings are over-pursuing. When they over-pursue, he just looks, cuts back to the inside. He picked up 6 yards on that play.
And he has 101 tonight. Najee Davenport checks in for Green, who limped off after that last carry. And Davenport, the big tailback, will be about 1.5 yards shy of a first down. Henry Crockett made the tackle.
The reason they can run so well is because of the fullback block at William Henderson. Watch this, guys. This is kind of neat. Henderson goes in motion to the right. Now he's going to come back in through the hole for Davenport. 33. Just keep your eye on him. Boom!
He's picking on a corner, though.
I don't care who you pick.
That's not fair.
As long as you hit somebody.
Picking on a little DB.
You get out there, he'll hit you too.
Favre to Henderson. First down and more. To the 46-yard line. A gain of 11.
What a dagger in the heart of a defense when you anticipate what the quarterback's going to do and what the offensive coordinator calls, and he out-executes it. Play action. Now look at this little drop pass. Right over the outstretched arms of Brian Russell, the safety coming in. I mean, Brian Russell couldn't get up high enough to make a play. Good job downfield pursuing.
That broken thumb has not bothered him on touch passes. It has not bothered him when he has to rifle it downfield. Ahman Green trying to get outside. Got away from Claiborne. And now Favre throws a block. Are you kidding? Brett Favre took out 2 guys.
He took out Walker.
Brett, what a block.
Well, he couldn't wait to hit somebody. Denard Walker, number 26. I'm going to tell you, Favre wipes him out. Here comes Ahman Green. Almost down. Claiborne misses him. Here comes Favre. Look at this. Boom.
Oh, he took out Robert Ferguson and Denard Walker. One of each.
And he was hitting with his right shoulder where his the bone is in his right thumb.
He doesn't even know he has a bad thumb.
He doesn't care.
He is a player. One of the best to ever put on an NFL uniform. End of 3. We're tied at 20. This is what the guys in our truck are seeing, a picture with remarkable clarity as they produce tonight's telecast for ESPN High Definition. You'll get to see college football next Saturday night, Virginia Tech and Pitt in high definition. Sunday night football next week, Ravens and Rams in HD. And ESPN HD now available nationwide. We start the fourth quarter in a 20-20 tie. Packers desperate for a victory. And Antonio Freeman makes the catch. Spun out of bounds and down by Brian Williams.
You know, one thing that Favre does, look at Antonio Freeman. I mean, here's a guy that was away, came back. Favre makes everybody play better. Look at this play to Antonio Freeman. Watch the catch. Now the concentration. He's got to stay in bounds, which he does, and he picks up the first down, which he does.
You know, you saw Brett Favre standing on the sideline before. Now you see Randy Moss kneeling. That's the best place the Packers can have him.
Ahman Green hitting the backfield. Flag is down. That might be a face mask.
That is a face mask. And I'll tell you what, in a face mask, when you turn the player's head, it's a 15-yarder.
This could be 5.
Well, I'm going to tell you, he turned his head.
Yeah, but
he actually changed his direction. Ahman Green was trying to get to the outside, and his direction was changed.
You can tell by the way Bernie did it. I mean, when he pulled it down hard.
Here comes Ahman Green. Well, watch this. That's Kenny Mixon, but he turns him back the other way.
That's only a 5-yard penalty.
That's only a 5-yarder.
I was right.
Yeah.
Just a pinky grab. Just a little pinky grab. You know?
Yeah, let me tell you something. When it whips your head around, it ain't a pinky.
Look, these guys have big pinkies.
Spot the ball at the 16. First down, Green Bay. Marching for a go-ahead score.
This is where Brett Favre has got to be careful. In the first game, he threw 2 interceptions down in the red area.
Green. He wants to throw. Intended for Driver, incomplete. Russell was there, and it may be Russell with holding or interference.
Well, I'll tell you what. Driver was pushing off.
Well, the thing is how can you have pass interference on a defensive back from a wide receiver with the running back outside the pocket? He doesn't know whether it's a run or a pass, and I believe that's what the officials are discussing now.
Holding.
All right.
But you can't have holding, though.
You can't. But, you know, I still don't...
Well, anyone's eligible to throw the ball. Interference is interference.
Well, it wasn't interference. It was defensive holding.
Defense.
I'll move down
5-yard
here
penalty, automatic first down.
Oh, it was holding, I think, because the contact came before the ball was thrown.
All right, here it comes. It's Brian Russell, number 27.
That's tackling.
He's got his arm wrapped around... Well, boy, I'll tell you what. Unless you see it from the other side. I mean, his arm is there, but they saw it around his waist, I guess.
Now it's a first down at the 11. Green Bay could conceivably get another first down inside the 1 without scoring. In the red zone tonight, 2 out of 3. Over the course of the season, they're the best in the league. They want Green on the screen, but he's covered, and then Favre throws it in his direction. Kevin Williams played it perfectly. He had Ahman Green wrapped up. This place has been the worst place to play for Brett Favre in his career. A 2-9 record against the Vikings at the Metrodome. It is so big for him, so big for the Packers. People say it's the dome, but he has had success in domes. He won the biggest game of his life in a dome. That was the Super Bowl.
It's huge for the Minnesota Vikings, too. Everybody says it's critical for the Packers. Yeah, I agree. But it's gigantic for the Vikings as well.
Green. And he is stuffed by Crockett, who's having a big game.
And that's what Henry Crockett had to do. He's been called a lot by George O'Leary to come on blitzes and to fill. And they felt he's been a little bit tentative the last couple of weeks. Watch him come off now. Handoff inside. Here comes the big fill. That's the way George O'Leary wants that outside linebacker position played.
Green from scrimmage, 172 yards. A huge night for him. They need more, though. It's 3rd and 11. And the Packers will use their first time out of the second half. 13-18 to go in this one from Minnesota. Back in a moment.
ESPN Sunday Night Football, brought to you by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a great-tasting low-carb Miller Lite. Charles Schwab. There's never been a better time for Charles Schwab. And the all-new 270-horsepower Acura TL, a higher form of performance.
The biggest crowd in the history of Minnesota Viking football watching tonight in the Metrodome, 64,000 plus. 3rd and 11 for the Green Bay Packers in a 2020 tie. Favre rifles, touchdown. Javon Walker with his 2nd touchdown strike of the night. What a bullet.
What a catch.
Javon Walker ought to just count your fingers, man, because that baby was coming in at about 100 miles an hour.
What a catch.
Well, please don't ever tell me about his broken thumb, all right?
Nothing.
Well, when you watch this ball, watch this baby. You want to see some heat? Bing!
Look at him reach back and make a play on that ball. If that ball's out in front, Corey Chavis probably makes a play on it. Look at him just zip that thing right back behind him. Nobody has a chance to even try and make a play on it.
That baby had a vapor trail on it. 27-20. Brett Favre has thrown 3 touchdown passes tonight. 330 for his career, and in a must-win, he has his team ahead. Brett Favre engineers a beautiful 73-yard scoring drive and caps it off with a bullet to Walker for the touchdown. His 3rd of the night, the 2nd to Javon Walker.
Minnesota's turn.
That's the way it's gone all night, hasn't it? Ontario Smith from the 10. Hasn't been able to get outside at all on one of these returns. Takes it to the 30. Let's go to Susie.
Mike, you've talked about Daunte Culpepper being a different quarterback this year. Well, this Vikings team is different too, and Culpepper says it comes from confidence. Confidence that things will go their way, and it wasn't always like that in the past. He attributes that to great chemistry. He says these guys all hang together, where in the past this team used to have some clicks. You got the feeling when they came out at halftime they were down, they still felt confident. They're down now, you can sense it on the sidelines, and that all starts with the quarterback, Daunte Culpepper.
And Susie, since that opening drive, 67 yards, Culpepper's only had 62 yards since. Mo Williams to the 33.
Mike, you go back to that first drive. He had 2 catches on the first drive for 53 yards, 1 since then. I believe they've got to get Randy Moss back in this game. Hey, the Packers do too, so they're going to put linebackers and DBs on him. Al Harris has just been in his hip pocket all night, and now they try and run it out and up on him, and Darren Sharper's shadowing him. I think just throw the ball in the air, let the man make a play for you.
This is where he's really effective. Well, they got him in a slot now.
Don't do the Green Bay Packers a favor and take them out of the game plan. Make them take them out.
Culpepper looking toward Moss, now scrambles and throws to Burleson. Burleson stays in bounds, get extra yards up to the 46.
You know, we were
talking down Minnesota.
We're talking about Randy. Randy doesn't mind if other guys are productive and things are going well on the offense. He doesn't mind spreading the ball around. But if things aren't going, if the offense gets stagnant, then he feels like he's the guy that can ignite it. He's the guy that can make plays. And I agree with him. You have to find ways, whether you move him, whether you run him down the field, do something to give Randy Moss a chance to get this offense ignited. It's a big play offense.
And doesn't that tell you that Randy Moss has grown up?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Culpepper dumps it off. Stackhouse up to about the 48. McKenzie solid coming up from the corner.
Look at the big plays. The Packers, 7 rushes over 10 yards, 2 passes over 20. I call these explosion plays. The Vikes, 3 runs, 1 pass play over 20 yards, and that was the touchdown to Randy Moss. That is not Viking football. That is not the identity of this offense.
Okay, the Packers have done a good job keeping Culpepper right where they want him, right in the middle of the field.
Here comes the blitz off the corner. Culpepper got through it and dumps it off to Hunter Goodwin.
You've got two corners that ran into each other. Now, who's covering? You got Mike McKenzie, 34, who is a corner. You got Al Harris, 31, is a corner. And watch this here. They make the sandwich, but there was no cheese. No meat in the sandwich. Watch it. Here's the sandwich. Bang! They knock each other. Culpepper did a great job getting the ball out. They've got him nailed.
The bread got crushed.
Oh. They toasted both buns.
3rd and 5. Packers show blitz. The front four has not given them any pressure. Moss, that'll be short of a first down. Solid tackle by Mike McKenzie.
I think you got to punt it here. You don't go for it. Too much time left in the game. 10 minutes. Let your defense go out and play defense. Mike, it would be a mistake if you went for it.
He's going to punt it. He is going to punt it. He looked at it. Mike walked out and took a look at it, and he sees he's got 2 yards. Don't boo. You've got 9 and almost 10 minutes to go in the ball game. You still have 3 timeouts left.
Paul,
I'm getting upset here.
They're watching it on television. These people can't hear you. People at home are doing the same thing.
There's some guys out there with a TV and a headset.
All right.
Put your hand up.
Nobody that boos has a contract.
That's right.
Eddie Johnson will punt. Chapman lets this one go, and it kicks into the end zone. Chapman did a nice job of deking to keep special teams away from it. Brett Favre working his magic against the Minnesota defense. He has the lead. If the Vikings win this game, they would have a 4-game lead on the Packers as well as the tiebreaker. The division race would virtually be over. The Packers can get back within 2 if they win tonight. Ahman Green swallowed up at the 18-yard line. When Brett Favre was in high school, he nearly did not get the chance to get a college scholarship. His father was the coach. He had a great arm then anyway, but they ran the wishbone because they were so deep in running backs. College recruiters came to call and said there's no film of him throwing the ball. No one offered him a scholarship. Finally, an assistant coach from Southern Mississippi came and said, let's go out to the field and see him throw some. He threw 3 balls. The coach said, good God almighty, and he had a scholarship to Southern Mississippi. Green on the toss. Hard run by Ahman Green, just lowered his head and buried a tackler to get up to the 29. Denard Walker made the tackle. Most wins by a starting quarterback. This is one of the most cherished records of all. Elway, Marino, Tarkenton, Unitas, Brett Favre can tie the legend Johnny Unitas if he can win tonight for his 119th victory as a starter. Big play here, 3rd and short, crowd on its feet. Javon Walker to the 47.
That's Favre, guys.
That's Favre. But I'm going to tell you something. The Minnesota Vikings have done an absolutely horrible job of tackling tonight. Mike Tice talked about it. Favre buys time. Good job by the offensive line, buying time. Throws it backing up. Javon Kearse keeps working. Again, another missed tackle. That one by Ken Irvin. There's been missed tackle after missed tackle. Javon Walker makes the big play. Irvin can't hold on to him. We've seen Ahman Green run out of Chris Claiborne's grasp for a big game when Brett made a block. Horrible job tonight by the Vikes.
Najee Davenport hit in the backfield and dragged down Fred Robbins, the nose tackle.
It's amazing. He was on that last play, not this one here, the pass play. He was going to throw the ball to Wesley Walls, and he, you know, there are times when he would force it and force it. He has been so patient tonight. You said it was like either the first quarter when he pulled the ball down. He was going to throw it. It would have been might have been an interception, but he is so patient tonight that he's driving the Minnesota Vikings nuts.
It's just now that the wide receivers are starting to catch some balls. They only had 3 before the last drive. Now you start to see the big production.
And time becoming a factor now as we go under 6.5 minutes. Davenport, 250 pounds with speed, He is to the Minnesota 45. They're already up by a touchdown. If they can get a field goal, if nothing else on this possession, that's a 2-score game.
Let me tell you something. I just look at Fred Robbins, 98, looking at the bench. This defense is tired. Watch it. They're leaning. They're not really making it at a point of attack. They're leaning, they're reaching, and they're not tackling. You're absolutely right, Joe. These guys are worn out.
And, you know, that was David Martin, number 87, their third tight end. That's the thing the Packers can do. They can throw a whole bunch of different packages at you, using the tight ends, using the 3 wide receivers. And, of course, you got a trigger in number 4 that's unbelievable.
Green got a great block on the corner, picks up several. Mark Tauscher has done a nice job out there as the right tackle. And this is a guy coming off a torn ACL.
I'll tell you, this whole offensive line, they are doing a terrific job. But Ahman Green just showed you why he is so good. And he's on his, he's close to 200 yards rushing. That move that he made to come back inside to pick up not only the first down but the extra yardage was just absolutely incredible.
It was funny. I was talking to Brett before the game. He said, you know, I'd hate to play in a dome and on turf all the time, but I bet you Ahman Green wouldn't mind because he makes such sudden, quick, violent cuts that he's up the field in a heartbeat.
Another first down, Packers. Now back to Davenport, the big guy. Nice cut by Davenport inside the 30 to the 28. He's only a yard shy of another first down.
I'm telling you, this Minnesota Vikings defensive line, they need somebody to get in there and help them out because they're tired. They're running these big guys at them. Take a look at the pit here. Watch these guys. Look at Minnesota. They're just leaning. All Kenny Mixon did, number 79, was step inside and lower his head and his shoulder. He's never going to make a tackle doing that because you got to see the guy coming at you.
It was another good block by Mike Flanagan, the center, and boy, wasn't he fun to talk to the other day. Guy has a great personality and should have a future in this business too. Here goes Fisher. 15, 10 and out of bounds.
There's a case where Brian Russell, the free safety, had the pursuit on the backside, and all he does is go flying by, and Tony Fisher goes the other way. Watch this. You're going to see it on the left side of your screen. Number 27 come right into the picture. He's supposed to be filling a gap. This is a one-gap defense. Everybody's got a gap to fill. That time, Brian Russell took one gap outside, and Tony Fisher filled inside from Notre Dame.
The Packers have piled up 262 yards on the ground tonight. And Ahman Green going for more this time, nothing. Taken down at the 11. Let's go to Susie.
Well, what an unbelievably impressive night for Ahman Green. Going into this game, the only criticism of the 2-time Pro Bowl back was his fumbling. Brett Favre constantly trying to show support, recalled the good old days when he threw too many interceptions, told Green opposing fans would keep track of the Favre-o-meter. Well, I don't know if that necessarily helped Ahman Green, but he concentrated and worked hard on holding on to the ball during the bye week. It's working tonight.
He has 189 yards in yards from scrimmage, Susie, and the Packers have racked up more yards on the ground than in a game since 1985. Green again, this time swallowed up as he neared the 10. But this drive has had everything. The Packers have moved the ball, taken time off the clock, and got themselves in position for at least a chip shot field goal.
You know what's amazing about this offense? Now, how many times have we seen 3 tight ends in this ball game? You know what? There's not been a catch by Bubba Franks, Wesley Walls, and only one by the third tight end, David Martin. So there's only been one pass really thrown to the tight end.
And that's the 7th consecutive run. Now, if you want to run a play-action pass, my guess is the Vikings are ready for it. That Viking defense has got to be geared on it.
Fisher. Favre out looking to throw another block, and Fisher is down to the 8.
I'll tell you, the way their defense is playing now, all right, Minnesota Vikings just took a timeout.
That is their first of the half. 2:40 to go in the ball game. Packers by 7. I like the cheese heads better, but that's not bad at all.
I'll tell you what, though.
That's cheese.
If this guy's married, you got to know his wife really doesn't like him.
He carved
Send him out in that hat.
That's carved cheese.
Yeah. Randy Moss, all he's been able to do most of this quarter is look. 27-yard field goal would give them a 10-point lead, and it does. Ryan Longwell comes through, and the Packers ground down the clock and now have a 10-point lead. Well, who did you like for the Sunday stud? 30.7% said backup quarterback Tim Rattay, who led his team to a big win over St. Louis today. Rattay playing for the injured Jeff Garcia. He beats Ray Lewis, Dwight Freeney, Anthony Thomas, and Amani Toomer.
That's who I picked.
Yeah,
Joe,
no,
you didn't.
I picked Freeney. I 3 sacks, 2 fumbles.
I picked Tim Rattay.
He harassed the living daylights out of Brian Griese, caused 2 big plays. I'd actually vote for I'd vote for Amon Green. Late write-in.
No, I'd take this guy right here.
I'd take Amon Green.
I'll take the guy with a broken thumb.
Yeah, who's he?
Santana Moss was another one that had a great day. You know,
will you quit throwing names out?
A lot of guys had great days today.
The Vikings still have 2:37 left, but they need 2 scores. The quarterback comparison. The big plays have been made by Favre. And Culpepper hasn't done a whole lot since early in the ballgame. Ontario Smith on the return. Across the 30 near the 35-yard line. Tackle made by Marcus Anderson. Monday Night Countdown at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN is the best place to get ready for Monday Night Football. Then on ABC at 9, it's the Monday night game. Tom Brady and the Patriots against Clinton Portis and the Denver Broncos. And Joe, they are Mike Shanahan in trouble out there. They're down to their 3rd-string quarterback.
They've got to find a way to win until Jake Plummer can get back and get off that bad foot that he hurt in that day.
Vikings need points, and they need them in a hurry. Culpepper goes underneath for maybe a yard. Anderson makes the catch on Mo Williams.
Well, I did a good job. He kept him in bounds. They're going to be able to maybe run this thing down to the 2-minute. Minnesota still has 2 timeouts.
See if they can get off a play before the 2 minutes.
They got to get it off before the 2 minutes.
They don't now. 2 minutes is going to be over with.
Culpepper chased again. Throws underneath. Williams on his knees makes the catch at the 41. A gain of about 6. Nick Barnett covered him up, and Green Bay doing a solid job defending anything deep, just giving up the little dump-offs underneath. SportsCenter is coming up. Stuart Scott and Carl Ravitch standing by to bring you all the action, including will there be an administration change in D.C.? Favre on that great starting streak for quarterbacks, and meet Coach Snoop. All that coming up on SportsCenter right after we're done here.
I know Joe said that earlier in the game somewhere, but I think this is 4-down territory.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good observation. Well, let me move over here.
You don't miss a thing, huh?
Slide on. Can I stand
Hey, nothing slides by me, pal.
3rd and 3. Underneath to Moss. Gave up the 1st down temporarily and then comes back to get it back. But the Packers will give up this play after play, and now Moss spikes the ball to kill the clock with 1:40 to go. Or Culpepper kills the clock, excuse me.
There's the schedule coming up for the Vikings. They at San Diego struggling, Oakland
struggling,
worst team in football, Detroit
struggling,
second, at St. Louis, Seattle, you know, at Chicago. I think with Chris Chandler, the Bears are a better football team, and then Kansas City and Arizona. I mean, this isn't the end of the road for the Minnesota Vikings, but they're going to have to get back on track. This will be the 2nd one they'll lose at home if they can't come back with a miracle here.
And this would get Green Bay to within 2 games of the division lead. Culpepper too strong for Burleson.
I don't care how good your offense is, if they don't figure out a way to stop teams from running against them. Now this team, you know, when people see what this team did to these guys, and one of the things that we did know when we came in here, we knew that the Minnesota Vikings at linebacker, they are not very fast. That's where the problem is.
The last 2 weeks, Paul, Kerry Collins with the New York Giants throws for 375 yards. Then you get the Packers coming in here tonight. Amon Green runs for almost 150 yards. So you talk about where do you start to fix the hole in the dike?
Well, 453 yards in total offense for Green Bay. There's more than one hole, apparently. Culpepper desperately looking for somebody. And throws intended for Williams incomplete.
What a terrific job this secondary is doing. They're only rushing 4 guys on Dante Culpepper.
Got a flag, might be defensive holding.
That's McKenzie on Randy Moss, and he's got him. There's Harris on Campbell. He just pushes him on the ground.
You know what? He does have a point. I mean, he's past the 5-yard area. But there's no sense getting up trying to fight with anybody. And heavens knows there's no sense in turning around asking for a flag. There just haven't been any tonight.
We got one here.
Darren Sharper back in that secondary for the Packers. Their quarterback on defense.
Doesn't it reach a point, considering there's only 1:26 to go and you're down by 2 scores, that you just have to send Randy Moss deep and throw a jump ball and hope he catches it?
Yeah, it was called the second quarter, I think, and once again in the third quarter, I think you had to take a chance. No explosive plays out of an offense that's built on explosion.
Well, the Minnesota Vikings, it is first down. They got illegal contact after 5 yards. You didn't hear Bernie Kukar say anything, but that's what happened.
Culpepper, Moss drilled out of bounds by McKenzie, but it's another first down.
Well, we've seen more unusual things happen, believe me. Lots of games going down the wires today. Brett standing, observing.
See, the Vikings, they're still sitting on. They have 2 timeouts. They've got a lot of time in this ball game.
I think if they can get a score without using timeouts in this drive and have maybe 50-some seconds to go, they'll get a chance of getting this ball back.
Culpepper, Mo Williams tries to make a juggling catch and can't at the 28.
But the thing that the Green Bay Packers wanted to do with Dante Culpepper today was to keep him in the pocket. And if the linebackers keep him in front of you, the defensive linemen don't let him get to the outside where he can roam and run, which he wasn't going to do.
Not only keep him inside, but talking to Ed Donatello, the defensive coordinator of the Packers, he said, make Dante hold the ball and try and read coverages. And that's what he's done. He's done an excellent job of switching up coverages, getting 2 on Randy, 1 on Randy, 2 on the line, jamming.
This offense, this big play offense, has had 1 play over 15 yards tonight. That was for a touchdown to Randy Moss. This is intended for Kleinsasser and got to him on the bounce.
I'll tell you what, he has not thrown the ball well at all on the run tonight.
No. Threw one short to Randy before, bounced this one into the ground.
Threw one out of the end zone, or on the right-hand side of the end zone, to Randy again when he was moving.
And I really think that with Dante Culpepper, you have to be careful when you reel him in, when you make him a more disciplined quarterback. I think part of his nature is a little bit like Brett Favre's. Cut him loose, get him on the edge, let him run, let him go get hit.
From right here, it would be a 50-yard field goal if they can't keep the drive going. They need 2 scores anyway. 3-man rush. Culpepper under pressure. Over the middle, Burleson. Inside the 10.
Run up and ground the ball real quick. Save your timeouts.
It's a gain of 23. Only their second big play of the night.
Well, they're going to get a break here because they got
one of the Packers is hurt. And it's Chucky Wakori, who just couldn't get up after the last play.
Dante Culpepper, Paul, like you said, Green Bay keeping him in the pocket, but Burleson continues to work. He steps up, avoids the rush on the outside by the linebacker. Nick Barnett all over the place. Burleson working. Okay, let me go the other way. There's nobody there. Now he tries to split him and get in.
So now you've got a chance for a quick score inside the 10. And then obviously that would be followed by the onside kick. One of the worst games Brett Favre has had in a long time was the opener in Lambeau Field against these same Minnesota Vikings. 25 of 41, 4 interceptions. Tonight, he turned it around with a broken thumb and a splint on it. He has thrown 3 touchdown passes. That one to Ahman Green, the other 2 to Javon Walker. And the Green Bay Packers on the verge of winning a critical game for them, and what a block he threw on that run by Ahman Green.
And the other thing is, Michael, is their wide receivers, the Packers wide receivers, have only dropped 2 balls all year. And these guys have been a very efficient receiving corps for Brett Favre.
First down and goal, Vikings, 50 seconds to go. Culpepper. Did he make it? No signal yet. Now an official says it's short. I thought he got the ball to the goal line.
That's a terrible call.
Wait.
I'd like to see this a review from the booth.
Are where the ball is.
There was no knees. He landed on his butt.
Doesn't make it. If he is down, here it comes. Now, does he touch the ground down? He's down.
He's down.
The ball is not in the end zone yet.
I don't know. I thought it might have broken.
I agree with Paul.
It's not in the end zone yet. Here we go again. Comey's hit. He's down. He's not down. He is now. He's down. His rear end's down, and the ball isn't in the end zone.
You're right.
Well, I know I'm right.
I know you are.
Why does he question me?
I don't. Some days I wonder myself.
Because occasionally you're wrong.
But you know what I like?
Not often.
But I like Dante's presence of mind. Instead of arguing with the official, immediately called timeout. I mean, he's really matured.
We are reviewing the ruling on the field.
Good.
Good
this is not a coach's challenge. This comes from the replay official upstairs.
You know, when you look at that guy, when you said to him, Joe, you won 2 and lost 9 in the dome, and he looked and he says, "It is what it is." That was a great answer. It is what it is.
And you know, it's more
down.
coincidental than anything.
The ball is not in the end zone, boys.
We know.
I know we don't.
Boy, great effort by Culpepper, though.
Oh, certainly. Down? No. They marked the ball and absolutely marked the ball exactly where it should be.
Good job. Brett says, no, he's down.
Well, he knows.
I'm not even concerned about it. He's down.
The review being conducted by Bernie Kukar.
See, I think, to me, the Green Bay Packers are one of the most dangerous teams out there with what was a losing record. I mean, I just think that they have the ability to make plays, great runner, great quarterback, defense is getting better, and really they lose the game to the Kansas City Chiefs. They're up by 17 points. If not, it changes this division, turns it into a tie. Turn around, look at the Minnesota Vikings. They're going to have to take a long look at themselves and say, okay, what do we need to do to get back to how we were playing earlier in the year?
This was such a critical play. Here's Bernie Kukar.
After reviewing the play, the runner was short of the goal line. The officials call stand.
Good job, Bernie.
You know, the thing is that the Minnesota Vikings had to take a timeout. They had to take the timeout so that someone upstairs would review it.
I think they would have reviewed it anyway.
Yeah, they would have. I agree with you. They would have. But the Minnesota Vikings took a timeout
to save time on the clock.
To give him time. Yeah, to save time on the clock and to give him time to say, I want to review it.
They still have 1 left. Now they've got to score.
Quarterback sneak. Don't waste any time. Put it in the hands of the big guy. Dante Culpepper's 265. Dave Dixon, the right guard's 243. Chris Lewinsky, the left guard, is 325. Matt Burke's over 300.
Minnesota.
What he just said is there was a charge timeout to Minnesota.
We knew that.
Yeah. Well,
what did he say?
He said, huh?
There we go.
From a foot away, Culpepper.
Oh, there's no question he's in the
Well,
end
the
zone.
time's running off the clock. That's the problem.
See, that's a bad job by the officials. That is a bad job by the officials. That took 5 seconds off the clock.
To me, that is a play that should be called by the umpire because he is standing right in the middle of the field, can see where it is. They wait for the guys to come out from the outside.
Well, see, nobody from the outside can see the ball.
No, look, but look, he's all the way in.
Except Mike is true. There's the umpire, but he is not allowed to make that call.
That's
he just
right.
doesn't make it.
And I know, and that's one of the rules that they ought to sit down with the rules committee and change. If a guy's in the end zone, is in the end zone. Why don't you let all 3 officials that are looking at it make that decision instead of the 2 from the side. I don't like that.
Let me just, how many games have we done?
A lot.
Well, he's got, every game he's got a new rule change.
No, I agree with this one.
I do.
Totally justified.
It's ridiculous.
That's a big extra point because it gets them within a field goal.
What's the official doing standing there anyway? Just holding up traffic?
Elling for the point after. It's 30-27. 33 seconds to go and an onside kick coming. Don't forget SportsCenter following our broadcast here. And one of the rule changes, here's some of the stories they'll be following. A lot of angst in Washington, D.C. over the performance of the Redskins. Favre, an interview with Susie Kolber on this unbelievable streak, 181 straight starts, and you'll meet Coach Snoop. Yeah. One of the rule changes they made this year that I think is very good, if the kickoff does not go 10 yards, or goes out of bounds on an onside kick, they don't get to try it again. In the past, you got a do-over for some reason. They thought that was unfair, justifiably, and wiped it out.
I think procedurally they ought to let the umpire, if somebody's in the end zone, make the call, because in a critical situation like this, you have penalized the Minnesota Vikings because you have an official standing right there capable of making the call, and you have to wait for the side judge and the lines judge to come in and make it. To me, procedurally, it's baloney. It's wrong. And it should be changed.
Procedurally?
Procedurally. It's my new word for this week.
Bet $1 you can't spell it.
Set up at the 30 for Elling for the onside kick. Green Bay has no one deep.
And you have to go with the onside kick. You can't pooch it down and hope to recover it.
Green Bay just took a timeout.
They saw how Minnesota lined up, overloaded to the left side. This is like a basketball game. Do you come out in the zone or man-to-man on the last play? Then the coach calls a timeout and changes the play.
I think they come out man-to-man.
Absolutely. I'd go with that 2-3 zone. Next Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern, watch NFL Primetime. They'll catch you up on all the day's action. And then we'll see the Ravens go to St. Louis with Ray Lewis, Jamal Lewis, and St. Louis will counter with Mark Bulger, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk, and the Rams. It's all on ESPN Sunday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Hope you join us then.
Ravens with a big win over Jacksonville today. And boy, did the San Francisco 49ers stun St. Louis. Here we go.
Same formation. 7 players left, 3 around Elling.
There's a big old hole in that defense.
Elling pops it up in the air, and the Packers have it. Darren Sharper, the sure hands of the Pro Bowl safety, brings it down, and now they can run out the clock.
And Joe said he couldn't jump.
No, I think he got jumped.
Boy, did he go up in the air to get this ball. You talk about perfect timing. This is your all-hands team, folks.
Showed some serious hops on this one.
Watch this.
It's a good kick, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a great kick, but watch Sharper go take it up at the high point. He didn't wait for it to come down. He went up to get it. Man, he was in the air.
And Brett Favre, who had such a terrible time in this building, 2-9. Minnesota uses its last timeout, and all they have to do is kneel down once more.
He won a game here throwing an interception.
That's right.
That's the other thing he hadn't been able to do.
But he offset that with those 3 touchdown passes. Only had 194 yards throwing, not Brett Favre-like numbers. But he was efficient and brilliant when he had to be.
You know, guys,
and the Vikings are going to have to stew on losing 2 in a row at home.
We talk about the Packers. I mean, Robert Ferguson's in his 3rd year. Donald Driver's in his 5th. Javon Walker's in his 2nd. Brett Favre's going to have some good receivers if he wants to stay around for a little while yet.
Hope he stays around for a long time. He is so much fun to watch. About the toughest guy you'll ever come across. And the Packers go to 4-4, get right back in this thing. The final score, Green Bay 30, Minnesota 27. For Joe Theismann, Paul McGuire, Susie Kolber, and our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Patrick. Good night from the Metrodome in Minneapolis. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.